lineups beginning with the visitors from Houston, Texas. Set to lead things off for the Tigers, playing center field, number 4, Kelton Phillips. Phillips, center field. Batting second tonight, shortstop, number 15, Bryce Hughes. Hughes at shortstop.
Well, live from Sanford Memorial Stadium here in beautiful Sanford, Florida, it's time for the second to last game of the regular season here for Bethune-Cookman baseball as they try to overturn a 1-0 deficit in this series against the Texas Southern Tigers. Texas Southern came in last night fighting for their playoff lives and secured a playoff berth last night with a 5-2 win over the Wildcats, courtesy of a 5-run 8th inning. The Wildcats look to strike back this evening. I spoke to head coach Johnny Hernandez before tonight's game to get his thoughts on last night's game and a couple of lineup changes going into today. I'm here with Coach Hernandez before the Wildcats take on Texas Southern Game 2 of the final series here in Sanford. Coach, last night the offense kind of fell apart outside of those 2 solo home runs in the 5th. It didn't really have much against the Texas Southern pitching staff, which on paper you should have been able to beat. So what went wrong with the offense last night?
Yeah, I don't think it fell apart. I think it's our guys just didn't execute and then didn't follow the plan. For us, we got to do a better job with guys like that, and we have to get to the bullpen as quickly as we can, as we've done all year. And just yesterday, it was just a minor step backwards, and looking forward to, our guys putting a quality effort today against a really good Texas Southern team.
Edwin Sanchez was fantastic again last night. He turned the ball over to Yoancel Diaz, and he gives up 5. Was this kind of a learning moment for him? Good to get that kind of performance out before the tournament?
Yeah, I think so. Yo-Yo hasn't pitched the last 2 or 3 weeks, so it was his first outing back. Coming in with some shoulder, issues. But again, knowing, we all know Yo-Yo, there's no excuses. He wants to be out there as much as he can to help the team win. And unfortunately, he just left a couple of pitches up in the zone. And Texas Southern is a good enough offensive team where they're going to, make you pay for your mistakes. So, at the end of the day, we trust in all of our guys, and we have the utmost confidence in not only Yo-Yo, but everyone on the pitching staff to get the job done when those opportunities present themselves. They just have to execute their pitches.
Speaking of getting guys back, this is Joel Corey's first start after a couple of weeks off with some shoulder issues. He's on a pitch limit today, but what do you want to see out of him in those pitch limit?
I think it's just getting his feet underneath him again, especially as we head towards, the conference tournament next week. I think the number one priority for all of us is just to make sure we live this series. Obviously you want to win this series, but at the same time you want to make sure everybody's healthy. So for him, just getting his feet underneath him again, throwing strikes, when you have the opportunity to put guys away. And, hopefully he doesn't have, a ton of stressful innings today.
You've rotated the lineup a little bit today. Figueroa, Plasencia, and Newton come in. What was the ideology behind that?
I think it's just, Figgy's played well, in the time and the opportunities that he's had. And, we wanted to go a little bit defense-oriented in the outfield. Not that it's been bad with what we've had, but I think Figgy deserved an opportunity to crack the starting lineup. Ray Plasencia, he's done a really good job against left-handed pitching, and we're facing a lefty today, so we like the matchup. And, Andre's going to be moving over to third base, giving, Plasencia an opportunity to play. So just looking forward for all those guys. And Armani wasn't in the lineup yesterday because we were facing a lefty, but we feel good about the matchup today with Armani and the lefty that Texas Southern has.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck today.
You got it. Hail Wildcats.
Game number 2 of this series, it's SWAC baseball here in Central Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to remind you that the concession are open for all your coverages.
We are ready to get baseball action underway here from Sanford Memorial Stadium. It'll be Joel Corey to start us off here in Wildcat Country on the mound for the first time since before UAPB series when he was pulled from his start. His last appearance on the mound for Joel Corey was all the way back against Florida A&M. He got the win, 6 2/3 innings, struck out 3, walked 4, just gave up 1 run on 1 hit. And that's the kind of form, Bryce Wojnowski, we'd like Joel Corey to be in coming into today. But coming off an injury, you never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, even prior to, if you want to call it an injury, more I think precautionary than anything. I think it had been a little bit of an up and down season for Corey. We know the highs have been really high. Talking about the first couple weeks of the season, striking out what felt like 1 million guys within the first 2 weeks. He was top of the country in strikeouts. Kind of had a couple outings that were a little bit down from there. Of course, we know he threw the no-hitter against Southern a couple months back. So, I mean, the highs have been as high as they get. The lows have been a little bit scary as well. So, again, still just a sophomore. We know how much potential the guy has and how much he's shown us this year. And really talking about a guy who flashes some of the best stuff, the best ability to mix up pitches, a good pitch arsenal in the league. It's just been a matter of putting it all together. I think that starts with attacking the zone. Kind of the same thing we say with Edwin Sanchez. You got to attack the zone. Corey's been victim a little bit to nibbling at times. You go in there, come at Texas Southern, a team that we know based on last night will swing away, and will keep swinging regardless. You can have a lot of success here tonight. So again, you're absolutely right. I mean, you need a really good springboard for Corey today into the next week of play.
And it's going to be about the bullpen today, right? Joel Corey on a strict pitch limit. Coach talked about it. He just wants to see Joel work in that limit, try and get some guys out, show his stuff here on Friday afternoon. Elsewhere, 3 changes for the Wildcats in the starting lineup. Ray Placencia comes in at first. Andre Martinez goes from right field to third base. Daniel Figueroa comes into play center, and Jorge Rodriguez moves from first base to the catcher spot, giving Irvin Escobar a night off. Kelton Phillips will lead us off in the ball game tonight. Phillips 1 for 4 last night with a walk. His hit last night was just a little squeaker of the right side of the infield that fell in the Bermuda Triangle. Nobody was able to get to it. Corey, righty to righty, first pitch a fastball strike. Kelton Phillips batting .374, top average on the Texas Southern team. 46 runs on 55 hits. Ground ball up the middle. There's hit number 56. A sliding stop by Poyedo and a throw over to first are not in time.
Well, and even though Texas Southern may be quote-unquote safe, may feel content with their place in the SWAC standings now, they can still move around a little bit. They still, of course, you have the pride of finishing off the regular season. We know they're not going to quit. We know they're not going to go away. And a lot of that for them is going to be putting the bat on the ball.
We'll talk a lot about this as the game goes along, but Texas Southern officially in the playoffs as Prairie A&M got swept by Alabama State earlier this afternoon. And courtesy of Texas Southern's win last night, they will be either the 7 or 8 seed. They'll get the 7 seed if they can take another game here and Southern gets swept by Jackson State. Any other scenario results in them getting the 8 seed, and these two teams may see each other again on Wednesday in the first round of the SWAC tournament if the Wildcats can win these next 2 games and lock up the number 1 seed.
And that in itself comes with a whole host of problems, right? You don't want to go into that potential game with Texas Southern riding high, knowing they have the ability to beat you and beat you handily.
Fastball strike outside corner. Bryce Hughes, who had the biggest hit of last night's game, a 2-run inside the park home run that kick-started a 5-run 8th inning. Bats now. Phillips on first, nobody out after a ground ball single up the middle. After a couple pickoffs to first, Corey looks at the 0-1 and will throw back to first again. Full numbers on Joel Corey. He's got a 5.05 ERA. He's 4-1, 10 appearances, all starts, with 1 complete game, that being the no-hitter against Southern. In 57 innings pitched, he's given up 38 runs on 55 hits, 32 earned. 0-1. High fly ball, center field. Going back is Figueroa near the track, and he makes the catch 2 steps from the wall. Well, Bryce Hughes put a pretty good charge into it. There's not a lot of wind out there today, and if there was, we may be saying adios to that baseball.
Yeah, not to mention the deepest part of the park. right out there. We saw one go out there last night. It was Jair Puedo. But it's not easy to go that route anywhere else in the park. It's probably see you later to that one. So get away with one, but goes in as an out either way.
Now one away. Here's Jaden Jones. Jones last night, a single, 2 strikeouts, and grounded into a double play. They are really checking on Kelton Phillips over there at first. 22 out of 27 on stolen base attempts for Phillips on the season. 63 strikeouts to just 20 walks for Joel Corey on the year, and that maybe is his best asset. We talked about him, sometimes being nibbly at the corners of the strike zone, but he's got put-away pitches when it matters. First pitch to Jones. Low and away, ball 1. He's another guy that can light up the strikeout numbers. 11, 12, 9, 6, all in games this year. 1-0. Swing and a miss. That time went with the off speed, and Jaden Jones ahead on it. Something I noticed about Texas Southern last night, especially against Edwin Sanchez, the starter, is Texas Southern does not like fastballs in on the hands, or especially cutters or sliders in on the hands. They were swinging through those a lot last night.
I mean, they were swinging through a lot of everything, and a lot of it had to do with timing. If you can mix things up, keep them off, you're going to get a lot of big swings, and a lot of really uncompetitive ones, like you mentioned, well out ahead or well behind.
1-1. Swing and a miss at a fastball down low. And I think really the emphasis tonight is on the Wildcat offense, because if you hold a team like Texas Southern to 5 runs, you almost expect to win a game like that because Texas Southern is so explosive and your offense has been so explosive. They just never really found it outside those 2 solo shots. The Wildcats only left 7 on base last night. Still lots of checking over there to first. Kelton Phillips over there after a leadoff single. Then Bryce Hughes flew out to center. Here's the 1-2. Inside and low, trying to force a swing. 2-2. Texas Southern is in the tournament. Confirmed after their win last night and the loss this afternoon by Prairie View A&M. 2-2. Bounced in the dirt. Runner goes. There's the throw down to second. It is in time, and he's out. What a recovery from Jorge Rodriguez behind the plate, and a lightning bolt strike to Jesus Venegas.
Well, that's one of those instances where as much as we may malign the throwing over and being persistent and throwing over 4 or 5 times, if you save yourself a step along the way, you can easily say it was all worth it. And that's one where you kept him on the bag just enough that you got time to make the recovery, make the throw down there, and it results in an out. So maybe it doesn't come via the pickoff, but it's rewarded with the throw down there and the caught stealing.
Corey's 3-2 to Jaden Jones. Ground ball softly hit towards third. Charging is Andre Martinez, and he will miss his throw to first, and the ball skips into the bullpen. Well, I was loath to talk about Andre Martinez's adventures at third base this season, and that just kind of continues it.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision. I mean, a guy that has spent a vast majority of his time now out there in the outfield, kind of forced into action over there. You can look at it as a fan on the outside and say that it's all fielding, it's all athleticism. You can figure it out over there, but just the routine, being there day in and day out, it's different, and it's not an easy position to play. And when you're forced into action so early in a game, I mean, it's not easy. So it of course, will go on his dock as an error on his record, but there's a lot more that goes into it than that.
And that was a tough play, too. A little chopper right down the third baseline. And he held up a little bit, trying to charge it, thinking it might go foul. But it ended up staying fair. Here's Damian Garcia, who's behind 0-1. Garcia last night 2 for 4 with a run scored. He's got Jaden Jones in scoring position here as Joel Corey was a strike away from getting out of the inning after Kelton Phillips got caught stealing. Now he's got to deal with a runner on second anyway. We talked a little bit last night about how the fielding has dropped off. Not precipitously, not a ton, but dropped off noticeably from the last 2 years where the Wildcats won the fielding title and then were a 1/10 of a percentage point in second last year. A ball in 2 strikes after that one found the top of the zone.
Something that, Coach prepared us for ahead of time, and I think he'd make that trade for what he's brought back in offense just about every time. It's still not always the most fun to watch when the errors have piled up a little bit.
1-2, slider outside, 2-2.
But again, like you mentioned, still up there in terms of the conference top 5. And there's plenty of positions you can point to say it's an absolute plus. I think the outfield is chief among that.
Some of the outfielding has been stellar this year. I'm talking about, Lee, Figueroa, Rivera. In the dirt, 3-2 for the second straight batter.
And even really for all the shuffling around at first base throughout the year, it's especially going into it knowing how many people were forced into that position that may not be, your number one option or may not be used to that day in and day out has been more than serviceable over there.
Once again, the 3-2. Bounced it to the plate, ball 4. Well, Joel Corey making some trouble for himself here in the first inning when he likely should have been out of this inning. Already up to 16 pitches. And now here's Jaden Flores with 2 on and 2 out. Flores, 1 for 4 last night, 2 strikeouts, and he scored one of the 5 runs in the 8th for Texas Southern. Tigers threatened early in the first yesterday, too. A double play got the Wildcats out of it. They had 3 inning-ending double plays last night. Corey missing down and in. He is really over-rotating on that fastball. Missing his spot. He's dealing with tightness in that throwing shoulder. 1-0. Inside, 2-0. You can overcompensate a bit sometimes. Just try and muscle it in there when you think you're losing velocity.
We very much expect he's on a pitch count today. A pretty firm one from what we were told.
2-0. That one didn't catch the corner, and it's 3 balls and no strikes, and Corey in danger of walking the bases loaded here with 2 outs in the first. That time, inside corner for strike 1. Last night was the first time in a while the Wildcats had not given up a first inning run. First time in the last 7 games. That one a fastball in there. Oh no, it's ball 4. Nope, he called it a strike.
Yeah, I was going to say, I could have sworn we saw a signal.
Well, Jaden Flores definitely thought it was ball 4. Flung his bat away. Now has to retighten his gloves, get back in the box. Corey once again trying to get out of this top of the first. He'll step off and throw back to second. And we jokingly talked last night about how, maybe this team doesn't know how to play from ahead, But there can be some mental parts of the game where you've had to come from behind so many times. You're comfortable like that. 3-2. High fly ball. Shallow setter. Figueroa moves in. 3, 4, 5 steps. Makes the catch, and that'll end the inning. No runs. 1 hit, 2 left. And 1 error as well. As we go to the bottom of the first. No score. Wildcats coming to bat here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the first we go here in Sanford. No score between the Wildcats and the Tigers of Texas Southern. For the second straight first inning in this series, the Tigers strand 2 in the top of the first, and now the Wildcats will dig in and try to get to starting pitcher Calvin McClendon, the graduate student from Lena, Mississippi, transferred from Arkansas. Pine Bluff, Darrell Lee will stand in. Had a bit of a rough one last night, 1 for 5, and grounded into the double play that ended the game in the ninth when the Wildcats still might have had some agency, down by 3. First pitch a strike, up by the letters. McClendon, a lefty with a 5.45 ERA, best on the staff, also the most innings pitched on the staff. Late strike call from home plate umpire Robert Nunez, but that's in there for an 0-2 count. 3-2 McClendon, 14 appearances, 13 starts, 1 complete game, 67 2/3 innings pitched. Lee, ground ball to first. Garcia barely has to move. He'll take it himself, 1 away.
Got to be wary of the quick inning if you're the Wildcats. Really early on in that game, there were plenty of times where it just kind of felt like they were going through the motions and letting pitchers off the hook. And we know the bullpen for these teams, especially some of these former West teams, they don't go very deep. So if you can really just work pitches, work in innings more than anything else, work a couple of walks, work a couple of full counts, I mean, you're doing a lot better than nothing.
Here's Andre Martinez, watches ball one outside, who blasted his SWAC-leading 17th home run of the season last night. But other than that, struck out and was out on the infield weekly twice with a ground out and a pop out. And he pops this one up to right field. Going back is Carlton near the track, near the wall. Oh, he made the catch. Oh, no, it's gone.
A pop-up.
What?
Look at that wind blowing out there, too. I mean, I don't blame you. It didn't look like much off the bat. It's one of you truly talking about golfing it up in the air. Just throw it up there and let it fly. My goodness.
That may be the shortest home run he's hit all year. That barely got over the wall. And I mean barely. I thought that Carlton had that.
He looked like it, flashed the glove, stuck it up there. It never really once in the flight of it looked like it had that much juice to it. It just kept sailing out of there. Again, wind this weekend has primarily been blowing out to right field. Just about every time we've been out here, it's been blowing to left. And so that one certainly got the benefit up there. Just put it in the jet stream.
And it's not, doesn't look like it's blowing that hard either.
No, kind of lazy.
I mean, a couple of the home runs earlier in the season when we've been out here, when that wind was just whipping off the water towards left field. But now, just kind of lazily towards right center. Count is 1-1 after a swing and miss to Jorge Rodriguez. Rodriguez batting a team best .391. 1-1. High fly ball, right center field and deep. Going back, Phillips and Carlton. That is gone! Back-to-back blasts for the Cats. Adios, amigos, 2-0.
Well, that one wasn't a cheapie. That one was a well-earned one for Andre Martinez, right? This is where you see now the benefit of having somebody like Jorge Rodriguez behind him in the order, because not only gave Martinez a better pitch to hit, but now you have to respect Rodriguez behind him, and now you've got another home run hitter, Armani Newton, behind him, so there's really no, off point in this lineup. It's so deep, it's so complete. Everybody's got even a little bit of power, right? We talk about the guys at the top, right? Martinez was 17, that sort of thing, but everybody can get a hold of one. There's another example there.
Armani Newton now batting .248, takes a first pitch strike. Newton's got 8 home runs in just 125 plate appearances. Also, 5 doubles, 2 triples. He grounds one, diving off the glove of Garcia. Jones throws wide of first, and Newton, after an adventurous trip to first base, is safe.
That was certainly an odd defensive play there. Kind of casual jog over, really casual throw, kind of whips everybody off the bag. That's a tough one. I think it'll go in as a hit, just because of the weird spot that it was in the order, or into the infield there. But good on Armani Newton to leg that one out.
That looked like some of the hits that Texas Southern got last night. Just slow grounders on the infield that kind of took awkward hops and were tough to handle. Now, still one out in the inning. Jesus Venegas puts one in the air to center field. Back goes Phillips. Track. Whoa! Oh, it's raining home runs in Sanford. Adios, amigos, for the third time this inning.
I'll tell you what, they will miss this ballpark when they head up to Birmingham next week. The Wildcats, we talked about it a couple times this year, Coach telling us that, maybe it's a home away from home, but they don't mind it one bit. Hunting the wall, that one looks like a lot like Poyetos from last night. Dead center field, no doubt about it. All you get's a little bit of a courtesy jog from your outfielders, and no kidding, it is raining home runs. This is kind of what we wanted, right? We talked about it a little bit coming into the game where the best way to settle everything down and calm any nerves from last night is to come out and do this. I'm not saying you got to run rule. I'm not saying you got to beat them by 15, but come out there and show it. Hey, the offense, maybe they had an off night. Maybe they weren't really ready to come out to the park, weren't really feeling it. Maybe weren't engaged as much as they had to be. But when they flip the switch, it's bombs away.
I'm guessing this offensive explosion in the first inning started on the bus last night. I'm guessing Coach Hernandez stood up and gave one of his speeches like, guys, what are we doing?
Yeah, we're better than this, right? Yeah. That's not who we are. We're not a two-run a game, just put a couple of weak solo shots or whatever out there. We're a lot more than that.
And to do it against somebody in Calvin McClendon, who's only given up 7 home runs on the year. Well, he's given up 3 in the first inning.
30% of his whole home run total came in this game.
In the last 5 minutes. Well, now everybody's hunting it. Jeter Poyeto got moved up from 8 to 6 in the order today. Batting right behind Jesus Venegas. And Venegas is someone who, he was in and out of the box so fast, 2-pitch at bat. I didn't get a chance to talk about his struggles. Yesterday, struck out 3 times.
I mean, it really is. It's kind of a metaphor, right, for how quickly the struggles can be put away.
Fouled straight back by Poyeto again. Jeter batting .308, the freshman redshirt transfer from Wake Forest. 27 runs on 45 hits, 9 doubles, 4 triples, 6 homers, and 44 RBI. Had his 6th home run last night to almost the exact same part of the park that Jesus Venegas just hit one. Dead center field right by the flagpole. 1-2. Fouled away. Count holds. And as I have done so many times this season, I'm going to give the warning to the Wildcats team. He's like, not everything you hit's going to go over the fence. Sometimes you got to choke up on the bat and just put one in the outfield for a single.
I mean, they have had the tendency at times to, then we'll get 3 or 4 innings now where everybody's just swinging and it's 1, 2, 3 with 6 strikeouts. Long way to go. I mean, we saw that last night.
Ground ball towards short. Fielding is Hughes. Crossed the diamond in time. That was close, but there's 2 away.
Another good hustle play there.
Yeah.
And that's one you could easily jog out, but Poyeto's one of those guys on this team that's going to run those out, that's going to dig in, and he made it close. Could have forced an error there. That's what we talk about. Those kind of at-bats there. If you took those for the rest of the game, for the rest of the inning, you're going to result in some helpful plays on your end on the way out. So that's another good little bit of hustle there.
And you often talk about, barreling up the ball and putting good wood on it, so to speak. Ray Placencia watches one upstairs. That was as hard to hit a ball as we've seen in the inning. And even if, better launch angle, that might have been in the outfield. But it was hard hit just right to the shortstop. And you'll take outs like that if it means you're seeing the ball well, you're able to barrel it up, and you're making good contact.
Well, that's the one thing that modern baseball hates nowadays, right, is they don't really want the ball in play. They want the 3 true outcome kind of deal. When the reality is, you're a lot better off to have something good happen if you put it in play, even if it's the most routine one you've ever seen.
Placencia late on that fastball up and in, fouls it away. 2 balls, 1 strike. Placencia getting the chance to play today, batting .279 on the year. Just 68 at-bats and 22 starts. 22 runs on 19 hits. 5 doubles, a triple, no homers, and 5 RBI. Skies this one foul over the clubhouse down the first baseline, and it's 2-2. The Wildcats haven't dropped a ton of games in conference, of course, 22-5. But it's telling that they have not dropped back-to-back conference games all season. They have followed up every loss with a win.
That resilience is something that a lot of times, if you like it or not, you need in the tournament. you don't have time to worry about when we'll bounce back. You just got to bounce back.
Placencia walks. That one down low, and the Wildcats have a 2-out base runner for Sergio Rivera, the 8th batter of the inning. Rivera last night, 0 for 3, but was the victim of some really good defense, including
Sergio Rivera.
Flores at third.
Rivera.
Robbed him of an extra base hit with maybe one of the catches of the year. Other than that, flew out to left. Another really nice catch made out there by Garcia, and flied out to right. Garcia watches a slider inside ball 1. And from the Texas Southern angle, right, there's a little bit of pressure off you today because you know you're in because Prairie View lost this afternoon. 1-0. That's a line drive left field, well hit. That's tailing back, and it's over the head of Jubert and off the wall. Trying to score all the way from first is Placencia. He motors in there standing. It's an RBI double that was ripped by Sergio Rivera, and it's 5-0 Bethune-Cookman.
And again, we've talked about it. The veteran leadership of Sergio Rivera is really great to watch. He's a guy that we don't often give a ton of credit for what he brings to you on offense, but quietly, hitting 282 on the year. He maybe doesn't blow you away in RBIs, but you still look down and he's got over 25. He got 26 on the year, make it 27. Just gets it done. And it's so easy when it's 2 outs in the inning now to just kind of roll it over to the next one, but they just keep swinging. We know how frustrating it can be when you're adding in runs with 2 outs on the other end when you're giving them up. When you can chip some in, it feels like found money.
Top effort by Jubert out there in left field. Full dive.
Playing so far in towards left center. He had to haul it to make it that close.
There's the 9-hole hitter, Daniel Figueroa, fresh face in the lineup today. Didn't play last night. Figgy on the year, batting .328, just 58 at-bats, only 15 starts. This is a guy coming into his preseason all-SWAC. Only 15 starts on the year. 1-0. McClendon slashes a slider through the zone, 1-1. I'm not sure if that says more about the SWAC's preseason all-conference nods only going to players who were in the league last year. In the air, center field. Phillips moving back, and he makes the catch on the move. The Wildcats, 3 home runs, 5 runs on 5 hits, and 1 left. And we go to the second inning, 5-0. Bethune-Cookman has launched ahead of Texas Southern here on the CatEye Network.
For the Tigers, number 6.
To the second we go. The Wildcats put a 5 spot up in the first and now look to the defense to keep Texas Southern off the board. Here's the designated hitter, Jason Lazo, who did not play last night. First pitch from Joel Corey. Up and away, ball 1. Well, if you're Joel Corey, you got out of a jam in the top of the first, and now you've got some serious run support. Let's see if he can settle down and start mowing down this Texas Southern order.
Make no mistake about it. With the plenty of arms ready, and that bullpen too. Don't expect the hook to be super long, knowing that you'd like to have these 2 games for that regular season title.
Fastball outside corner, 2-1. Lazo, the junior, batting .300. Just his 10th start of the year. 50 at-bats for Lazo. 13 runs on 15 hits, 6 doubles, a homer, and 16 batted in. Outside, 3-1. Well, if the command is going to stay as it is for Joel Corey, he may not even get to whatever his pitch limit is. We were not told what it was.
It's still also, though, important, though. You'd like him to exit with some kind of confidence. Maybe that's earlier than you'd like, but you want him to edit on a good note.
Second walk of the game issued by Corey, and I came in singing his praises on the walk note. It only walked 20 in 57 innings coming in.
It's something, right? Let's say he struggles, gives up a couple of runs here, walks in a couple. You still might leave him in for another inning, but let's say then he goes 1, 2, 3. You may pull him, and in your mind up here we say, well, he was finally looked okay, but you pull him on a confidence note, closer to that pitch count limit, and then you roll into the tournament feeling a lot better than you would if it really got bad at the end.
Jalen Carlton skies one to deep left field. That's going back to the track, to the wall, and making the catch is Darrell Lee. Oh, boy.
Yeah, boy, that's one. If it was blown out to left field like it has in some of our other weekends here, that one might be sailing out of there. That's, 2 now that have been right at the warning track. You feel like we could have seen a couple more out of here. You're lucky there.
I came to watch a baseball game and a home run derby broke out.
You got to make sure you're on the right side of it.
So 1 away, and here is Elijah Rodriguez, who batted once last night in place of Alex Diaz, was hit by a pitch. Came in to play defense at catcher, and he gets the start today. Rodriguez batting .248, a junior. 29 runs on 26 hits, 1-0. Right down Broadway for strike 1. 3 doubles for Rodriguez, no other extra base hits, and 16 batted in. Slugging just .276. Lazo on first with 1 out. Ground ball towards third. Martinez backs up, throws to second in time. Across the diamond. It's a twin killing to end the inning. Well, how about a little bit of redemption at third base for Andre Martinez after he made that error in the first? That was on him quick, but perfectly executed, Bryce.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, way to rebound, way to pick up the confidence, it looks a whole lot different for him at third base after a play like that than maybe if you hang your head a little bit after the first. So really nice rebound there.
Wildcats get out of it with a double play. We go to the bottom of the second, 5-0 Bethune-Cookman here on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the second, and already a new pitcher takes the mound for Texas Southern. Calvin McClendon goes 1 inning, gives up 5 runs on 5 hits all earned, and faces 9 batters. So we start the second the same way we started the first, with Darrell Lee and a new pitcher on the mound. This is Jose Lucioni, a freshman. And the first pitch right at a lefty. Lee swings and misses on the outside fastball. Lucioni, a really big leg kick, exaggerated, slow windup. I'd like to see what he changes when he goes to the stretch, when he gets guys on base. Lucioni, a freshman from Clear Lake, Texas, and Clear Brook High School. 8.14 his ERA, 24 1/3 innings pitched on the year, as he deals the 1-1 to Darrell Lee. Lee, off the inside of the bat, muscles it out to left field. Joubert makes the catch, backtracking for out number 2. Been a little bit of a rough series so far for Darrell Lee. Just the 1 hit last night, and a couple of really bad outs for him as well.
But you see it right there, right? Probably be the first to admit, not his best swing in the world, but still manages to fly it all the way out there. Not more than, 2 steps from the track on that one, too. He certainly got it. And he's one that, again, the walks and all those little things will get him right back into a good spot in that lineup sooner than later.
Here's Andre Martinez, who started the train for the Wildcats with a home run in the first, and now he's got a home run in the second. Adios, amigos, over the scoreboard into the Little League field. Andre Martinez is feeling it right now. Goodness.
Oh, man, making that last-minute push for that Player of the Year nod in the SWAC, Hitter of the Year, every single one of it. My goodness, you're talking about a guy who loves playing in this ballpark.
He had a no-doubter last night with the big bat flip. That may have been more no-doubter than last night's.
Oh, you talked about a courtesy jog for one of the home runs in the last inning. You didn't even get it on that one. It was just goodbye off the bat. See you later.
This is where I miss being at the Jack, because we would have gotten some StatCast stuff about exit velocity and launch angle. I would have loved to see the stats on that one. That strikes me as a 110 plus off the bat type ball.
My goodness.
Absolutely crushed. 6-0 Bethune-Cookman. I didn't even get to the full numbers on Lucioni. Something's going on down there.
The old silent treatment.
You gotta keep things mixed up when you've hit pushing towards 80 home runs on the year for this Wildcats team. We may get to 80 at the tournament.
That's a funny one. It feels like the silent treatment's usually for, like the rookie or the first time into home run type thing. I mean, when the guy's got 18 or I guess now 19 of them on the year, I guess he's got his fair share, right? Just mix it up a little bit.
2-run to Jorge Rodriguez, who also homered his first time up. And he puts that one well foul first base side. Full numbers on Lucioni. 24 1/3 innings pitched. This is his 17th appearance of the season. He's given up 22 runs on 32 hits. All 22 earned, striking out 15 and walking 10. Before today, he's given up 5 doubles, no triples, 3 homers, 5 wild pitches, 6 hit-by pitches. And his ERA is 8.14. He is 1-0. Turning on an inside fastball and lifting it way in the air is Rodriguez. Joubert near the line tracks it down for out number 2.
Of course, this ballpark has its benefits, right? It's certainly home run friendly, but it's still incredible week in and week out, game in and game out to watch this team. I know we've said it a million times this season, but to see how different it looks and how much fear it really feels like there is batter in and batter out. Just about everybody on this team can get a hold of him and launch, and it's just still so crazy for us to watch up here.
2-away, Armani Newton, who singled softly to the first base side his first time up. Came around to score on the Jesus Venegas home run. One of the 3 home runs the Wildcats hit in the first, now 4 in the game. Martinez has done it twice, Rodriguez once, and Venegas once, both in the first. Counts 1-1 on Newton, the transfer from Florida Gulf Coast, and he's out ahead of that one. 1-2. He's shortening up his swing, and he's aiming for the right field corner. This is when Derek Cartaya, the hitting coach, maybe needs to step in. Not with a timeout necessarily. 1-2. Line drive into the glove of Garcia, who picked it off the turf. And there is out number 3. But a run on the home run by Andre Martinez as we go to the third. The Wildcats increase their lead to 6-0 over Texas Southern here on the CatEye Network. Nine-hole hitter Evan Juberts will lead us off for Texas Southern as we go to the top of the third. The Wildcats add another one off another Andre Martinez home run to make it 6-0 here in the top of the third. Jubert last night batted in the 6th spot, so it dropped all the way to the 9 today. First pitch fastball low, ball 1. 1 for 3. Had a home run. Reached on a fielder's choice, a strikeout, and a ground out. A little bit of everything last night for Jubert. The junior batting .302. 28 runs on 38 hits. 8 doubles, a triple, 6 homers, and 32 RBI. Rolled to third. Andre Martinez across in time, 1 away. Well,
getting his fair share of working over there today.
The game of baseball will find you when you least expect it. I'm sure, and it's not going to be as bad as I make it sound. I'm being overly dramatic, He knows that when he's been put at third base, he hasn't fared well, so there might be a little bit of nerves, a little bit of skittishness coming into the game for Andre Martinez. And then, he's 3 balls in the first 3 innings have found him over there, and 2 of the times he's made the play. First pitch, fastball strike. Top of the order again. Here's Kelton Phillips, who singled up the middle his first time up and was caught stealing. I'm going to have to track this down, or maybe you can track this stat down. Last game of the season, somebody started over at third base that hadn't played much all season long. It was one of the seniors getting a token start from Coach Hernandez. And he made 8 putouts.
I do remember that now that you're saying that.
And I don't remember who it was off the top of my head.
Switching positions, to your point, is really hard. It's a lot harder than I think we give it credit for.
Off the end of the bat, seeing eye single to the right-hand side, so Phillips 2 for 2. And there's 1 on, 1 out.
But, look at the Rafael Devers situation now in Major League, right? It's third to first, which a lot of people would look at and say that's one of the easier transitions you can make, and you're not taking it easily. Standing on that ego and everything else. Really saying, I don't want to have to move. I've done that my whole life. It's not that easy. Whereas we up here look at it, well, you're still taking a grounder. You're still stepping on a bag. What difference does it make? Don't think about outfield to infield. It takes a lot. There's only a few guys who can do that.
Line drive, foul. Ooh, that was close. Outside of third base by Bryce Hughes, who flew out to center field his first time up, barely missed a home run. The only 2 hits that Joel Corey's given up so far are 2 seeing eye singles to Kelton Phillips. The other 2 base runners, 2 walks. Sorry, the other 3 base runners, 2 walks and an error. 1-1. Hughes dribbles it foul behind the plate.
And now that I'm looking back at the box score, I don't know how we forgot it was Frankie Febles.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Over there at third and was really awesome. We knew he was always kind of a defensive first guy throughout a lot of his career, but then had some health issues down the stretch in his last couple of years and got back in. It was such a cool moment. That was an awesome game.
And then he came into the tournament and had a big RBI in one of the games, I think.
We scored 2 runs in that game.
Yeah. Oh, came in and hit
Got him on
Bryce
there.
Hughes on the arm, on the forearm. And they'll be 2 on with 1 out. Yeah, Corey's looked okay, but just a couple of wild ones, the 2 walks and now that.
It is kind of been how it's been going at certain points. We've got the Texas Southern coaching staff out here. Of course, the trainer's coming out as well, but I don't know if you're arguing that he tried to hit him. I just
There's no
don't
way.
think that's the case. Or they called it foul.
Did they call it foul? Did they say
He's
hit the
taking
guy
the
with a
padding
bat?
off. No, they're going to send him down. Yeah, no, I mean, you could hear it from the sound. It didn't sound like bat.
And the way he reacted, too.
Yeah, for sure.
He definitely got hit on the forearm.
I mean, there's always a possibility they could hit the knob of the bat or something similar and then hit you, and you could still have that reaction. But again, the sound to me is it didn't sound like bat.
Well, now let's see how Corey gets out of a jam here. Here's Jaden Jones, who reached on an error by Martinez over at third base back in the first, was stranded on second.
The batter for the Tigers, second baseman, number 2, Jaden Jones.
Jones, the senior, batting .362, second best in the order. 38 runs on 68 hits, 9 doubles, no triples, 4 homers, and 43 batted in. A strike that bounces off the knee pad of Rodriguez. Runners stay where they are. Not often you see a ball get away on a strike like that, if it wasn't a swing. Reminder, we are still in the top of the third. Long way to go, even though the Wildcat bats have been back to their brilliant best so far. You know that Texas Southern can mash baseballs. They have put some crooked numbers on teams, especially in conference play this year. 1-1. In the dirt, 2 balls, 1 strike to Jaden Jones. And they put 15 on Southern, 10 on Alabama State, 15, 13, and 12 on Prairie View, 14 on Pine Bluff, 23 against Alabama A&M. No swing on a check inside corner. Wildcat bench doesn't agree. And this is more energy out of the Wildcats than we had all of yesterday, even when they did go ahead on the home runs. They're fired up right now. But Corey's behind 3-1, in danger of walking the bases loaded, which he will do. Single hit by pitch walk, and Phillips is on third, Hughes on second, and Jones on first. The batter is Damian Garcia. Third walk already for Joel Corey.
Yeah, getting the old hurry-up sign to the bullpen from Coach Hernandez. Surprised we don't see maybe a mound visit try to
Now batting for the Tigers,
talk Corey
first
through
baseman,
everything.
number 34, Damian Garcia.
But, I mean, how many ending double plays have we seen thus far in this series? Man, you could use one here.
Wildcats already have 4. Or 3. 2 last night, 1 today, and they almost had a 4th last night. The batter is Damian Garcia, who walked his first time up back in the first, and he takes a ball inside. 46 pitches so far for Joel Corey. If you think his pitch count might be 50, this will be his last batter. 1-0. Slider misses away. 2-0. Bases loaded, 1 out. All Texas Southern needs is 1 big jolt, as we saw last night, to really get them started. 2-0. Swing and a miss. Throw down to first. Placencia almost trips over Jaden Jones and misses the ball, but he hangs on to it. That's a risky throw with the bases loaded.
We've seen it bite the Wildcats before.
At the end of that first game against Arkansas Pine Bluff, right?
Escobar throwing down to third.
Ball gets away, and that's the game. 2 balls, 1 strike to Garcia. Bases loaded. Ground ball. Oh, a diving stop by Martinez. From his backside, throws to second. On to first, not in time, and a run scores. But, oh, my goodness, Martinez.
Yeah,
He saved a couple of runs right there.
A valiant effort. Probably putting it lightly. I mean, absolutely. Stole that from turning from bad to way worse. You'll take letting up a run in that situation just about every time. Still not out of it yet, but that second out is so crucial. It's such a different look when you don't have two more to get it.
Kelton Phillips scores from third on the fielder's choice. Bryce Hughes goes to third. Jaden Jones out first to second on a terrific play by Andre Martinez. Ball in the dirt, first pitch to Jaden Flores. Flew out to center his first time up. That ended the opening stanza. Runners on the corners now. Texas Southern on the board at 6-1. Corey deals low, and I mentioned it already. He is over-rotating on that fastball, releasing it way late, and everything's missing down.
Be interesting to talk to the coaching staff after the game and see if there are any lingering effects from the tightness that he's been going through over weeks. If he's trying, like you mentioned, to compensate a little bit, or if it's just missing spots.
That time, he missed his spot, but still caught the outside corner, as you can see from the glove movement of Rodriguez. Now right at 50 pitches, Joel Corey. Likely his last batter. Fouled away, 2-2, right at home plate. This one an important out to get, going in at 6-1. You'll feel a lot better than 6-2 or 6-3. The speedy Bryce Hughes by the inside the park home run last night is on third. The 2-2 to Flores. Swing and a miss. Got him with a slider down low. And that'll end the inning. 1 run, 1 hit, 2 left. And we go to the bottom of the third. Wildcats lead 6-1 here on the CatEye Network. To the bottom of the third we go. 6-1 Bethune-Cookman here in Sanford. Jesus Venegas leads off. Texas Southern on the board. They scratch one across on a hit. In the top of the inning, Wildcats trying to respond in kind. 5 in the first on 3 home runs and an RBI double by Sergio Rivera. Then 1 in the second on the solo shot by Andre Martinez. Jesus Venegas really struggled last night. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts and a ground out. But did homer to dead center field his first time up. Now, of course, that was against McLennan. Jose Lucioni still on the hill for Texas Southern, the freshman. We'll see how the stamina of Lucioni is. His longest outing of the season was 3 full innings against Southern in a 16-15 loss in which he gave up 4 runs on 4 hits, struck out 2. He's behind 2-0 to Jesus Venegas. Now behind 2-1 as that one caught the outside corner.
You got to remember, too, when we approach the tournament in Birmingham next week, there are roster limits, right? So not everybody's going to get to make the trip. So if you've got some relievers, especially if you're a team like Texas Southern down at the bottom, you might let them ride a little bit longer than you would, knowing that you'd rather save the guys who are likely going to see action next week. Maybe a lot of it.
Yeah. We were talking in between the inning break, right? If this is the first-round matchup, Bethune-Cookman against Texas Southern, does Texas Southern go with McClendon, or do they go with the pitcher they had last night, Malone, who shut us down for most of the night? 3 balls, 1 strike. The pitch from Lucioni. Off the end of the bat, fouled away. Wildcats are feeling it offensively. I mean, that's a 3-1 I'd be pretty happy taking, just in case you walk shit, because the 3 balls have been pretty uncompetitive. But now you got to stand in and really protect the plate here at 3-2. And with Venegas at times being a black hole of strikeouts, we'll see what he does. 3-2 from Lucioni, that high leg kick and deals. Just got a piece of it, protecting the plate. 3-2 again. It is very hot. Up in the upper 90s. Feels like the middle of August or the end of July out here this weekend. And there's not a lot of wind. Very still, very hot.
One of those weekends where you're thankful it's the last one, right? For those of us who have to work them weekend in and weekend out.
3-2. Venegas pops it up down the first base line. Carlton moving towards the line, tracking, reaches over his head, makes the catch, and there's one away. Lots of pop-outs for the Wildcats. Lots of fly-outs. 2 to left, 1 to right, 1 to center. Lots of balls lifted high in the air, just trying to let the wind do something. Here's Poyeto at a home run last night. Grounded out to shortstop in the first, but a very hard-hit ball right at Hughes. Strike 1 on the outside corner. I think everybody on this Wildcats order has kind of had an up-and-down season, as you do over a long season. This is game 53 of 54, 0-1. Check swing, did he go? Yes, that's a rough one. And it's 0-2 against Poyeto. But Jeter Poyeto has been one of the more consistent Wildcats, both defensively and offensively throughout the season. Started a bit rough at the plate, but has really picked it up over the past month and a half or so.
Well, I actually say in the beginning part of the season, I think his glove kept him in the lineup when the bat wasn't there. But really later in the season, we hope he turns this around a little bit when we head to Birmingham. It's been the bat that's kept him in the lineup while the glove has lagged behind a little bit because, I mean, I think leads the SWAC in errors over there.
Line drive, left field. Coming in, Joubert makes the catch. 2 down.
Of course, that for Poyeto is something you expect for really first full year competition, transferring in from Wake Forest. So trying to find his footing. I mean, that's really we talk about is something that separates a good from a great player is everybody can show flashes of time, but showing the consistency, and that goes for both sides of the ball, that can really make you great. And I think when we look back at his season this year, and especially when we get into the next season, you'll be more than happy with what he has been able to produce.
Here's Ray Placencia, watches one skip to the plate. He walked his first time up, came around to score the 5th and final run of that first inning on a Sergio Rivera RBI double. Lucioni winds and fires. Outside corner ball 2. Jose Lucioni, Clear Lake, Texas native. Has not had a runner aboard against him, so I haven't been able to test my theory yet of what he does with that windup when he has guys on base. Because if he keeps that high leg kick, you'd imagine that that'd be a base-stealing haven, because it takes him so long to get to the plate. The only hit he's allowed was the home run by Andre Martinez. 3 balls, no strikes to Placencia. Ray takes all the way, and it's 3-1. Join us tomorrow at 2 o'clock for Senior Day festivities before the final game of the regular season. That one's laced back up the middle. There's a base hit by Placencia. That's what the Wildcats need more of. A lot of uppercut swings in this inning, lifted fly balls to the outfield. That time just sat back on it, drove it back up the middle.
I give Placencia a ton of credit, too. A guy that was, one of those guys that throughout the baseball season, you get a couple of them who are not going to be your everyday guys. You might not even see action every weekend, but when your number's called on, coming out there and be not only competent and good over at first, but also, still putting good swings on the ball, good approach at the plate. That's a good one right there.
Here's one of the seniors that will be honored tomorrow, Sergio Rivera. Absolutely smoked an RBI double back in the first, his first time up. Fastball outside corner, strike one. The wind's picked up a little bit, blowing out towards right field. Rivera has 3 home runs on the year. One of them came in this ballpark against Mississippi Valley State. That one on the ground towards short. Diving step by Hughes. He throws to second to end the inning. Really nice play by Hughes. And that'll be the end of the inning. No runs, 1 hit, and 1 left. And we go to the fourth, 6-1. Bethune-Cookman here on the CatEye Network. New pitcher for the Wildcats as we go to the top of the fourth. Logan Wirt, the junior from Orlando, Florida, takes the mound. 2 seasons at Hillsborough Community College before coming over here to Daytona Beach. His first order of business will be to face Jason Lazo, who walked and was caught in the middle of a double play his first time up. Shallow pop, foul territory, 1 pitch, 1 out as Andre Martinez makes quick work of that one.
Logan Wirt's an interesting one to watch heading into the tournament, right? He's kind of taken that long relief, middle relief type role and really run with it. I mean, the first time I think we really saw that was that USF game back in Tampa a few months ago, where I think we found something there, and he's really taken it really well. I mean, he'd give you a couple strong ones here. I think you really like that arm coming out of the pen. That's something that not a lot of these SWAC schools have.
Here's Jalen Carlton, flew out to left his first time up. First pitch, ball low and in. Wirt on the year is 0-2 with a 3.86 ERA. Those 2 losses back in late March against FIU, and he took the loss against USF despite a really strong outing there. He just happened to give up the last run of the game. 18 2/3 innings pitched for Wirt, who's behind 2-0 here to Carlton. And the pitch. Down Broadway, 2-1. He's allowed 12 runs on 15 hits, just 8 of those runs earned. Walking 19 and striking out 14. That's a bit of concerning walk numbers. He's allowed 3 doubles, no other extra base hits. He's thrown 2 wild pitches and hit 7 batters. His last time out against Alabama State in the 4-3 win, that was the 10th inning one. Way outside, 3-2. 2 2/3, gave up nothing on 2 hits with a strikeout. Did walk 4. 3-2 now to Jalen Carlton, right at a lefty. Fouled away. Carlton stays alive on an inside fastball. You look at the ERA for Logan Wirt at 3.86. And if you had covered my eyes and not given me a stat sheet to look at, I would have thought Wirt's ERA was in the 5.6 range, if not higher. But his last couple outings, he gets a really nice strikeout of Jalen Carlton for the second out. His last couple of outings have been excellent. I mean, you talk about the win against South Florida, came in and steadied the ship. Had 3 strikeouts in 2 1/3 in the second game against Arkansas Pine Bluff as well.
Again, doesn't have to be anything flashy about it. Just kind of a workman-like approach out there on the mound. And we said it. I mean, Texas Southern will fall into those big swings. That was one right there.
Fastball at the knees, just low. Ball 1 to Elijah Rodriguez, who grounded into the 5-4-3 double play to end the second. Wirt winds and fires. Logan's ERA was at its highest when after he went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a run on 2 hits with 2 walks against Miami on the 9th. Fouled away first base side. After that, he has lowered his ERA in every appearance and has only given up 5 runs over his last 7 appearances. One, 2. Chopper, slow roller towards second. Venegas to the covering Wirt over at first, and he'll take a 1-2-3 inning. Nothing doing for the Tigers here in the 4th. We go to the bottom of the inning. 6-1 Wildcats here on the CatEye Network. (9-1-2) for the Wildcats as we start the bottom of the 4th, up 6-1. They'll contend with a new pitcher for Texas Southern as we go to the bottom of the 4th. It's the junior from Dickinson, Texas, transfer from Mountain View Community College, Jace Maynard. Maynard fires in, first pitch strike. Maynard a 10.29 ERA on the year, 14 innings pitched. Figueroa 0 for 1. Flew out to center his first time up. Drops a bunt down the third base line that will dribble foul, and it's 0-2. 14 innings pitched on the year. Most of Maynard's appearances have been an inning and a third or less. He's allowed 16 runs on 21 hits, all earned, striking out 7 and walking 8. He's allowed 3 doubles, no triples, a homer, 1 wild pitch, and 2 hit by pitches. He is 1-0. His one win coming against Alcorn State. The game Texas Southern won 20-9. And his ERA 10.29. Doesn't look like he has a ton of velocity on that fastball.
Well, with that ERA and that type of fastball, it looks a lot like what we're going to get used to seeing in the SWAC tournament next week.
Darrell Lee, soft chopper over to third. Flores. Oh, he's out. So, excuse me, that was Daniel Figueroa, not Darrell Lee. But Figueroa is out by as close as you can be. And if we're at the tournament next week in a close game, I think that might be a challenge one.
Oh, boy, don't get me started. That's always the adventure when you get to tournament time, is all these coaches get a new toy, talking about replay. And everybody giving the replay sign on everything that's close. Players know they've got it now, and it often leads to a little bit of clunkiness in these games, as we saw in the softball tournament.
Darrell Lee way out ahead of that off-speed pitch. Lee's had a lot of swings like that over the last few weeks, just swinging out of his shoes, trying to hit one to the moon.
I mean, literally, right? He's hits those swings a lot of times. When he does one of those, it looks like he's about to fall over.
That time he stays back on it, puts it in the air to left field, but that's easy pickings for Jubert, and there's quickly 2 away. That's kind of the kind of swing I'd like to see more of from Darrell Lee. Just shorten it up, put the ball in play. You're fast enough that a lot of times if there's an awkward play for the infield, you're beating it out.
He's also one of the best on this Wildcats team of going to that opposite field. He can really hit it to all points of the park, and we know what the walks bring. We know everything else. He's just able to get on base. Just kind of tune it up a little bit for next week.
Here's the guy, Andre Martinez, 2 for 2, 2 home runs.
Think he'll get a pitch to hit here?
Maybe not. One
Certainly
barely
on purpose.
cleared the wall in right field. One, maybe the longest home run we've seen out of this park all year long, over the scoreboard in left center. 1-0. Grounded to third. That one's fielded by Flores across the diamond, and that is a high throw, but applying the tag is Garcia, and the Wildcats go 1-2-3 for the first time today.
No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on.
Nothing doing for the Cats. We go to the 5th. 6-1 our score. We go to the 5th. Wildcats with a 6-1 lead. Logan Wirt, after working a 1-2-3 inning,
Leading off the top of the 5th for the Tigers. Left
had the
field,
Wildcats go
number 9,
1-2-3
Jubert.
behind him, so he got a short time on the bench. Here's the 9-hole hitter, Evan Jubert. Grounded out to Andre Martinez over at third, his first time up. First pitch, inside ball 1. Couple of really important final scores already in the SWAC today. Alabama State swept Prairie View inside ball 2. 14-8 in this final game. That secured Texas Southern a spot in the tournament, as Prairie View was the only team that could have left them. 2-0 from Wirt. Hit him. My goodness. That was inside, further inside, and hit him on the shoulder. And after the really clean inning by by Logan Wirt in the fourth, that's a rough way to start the fifth. And the free passes have really been the best offense for Texas Southern today. Their one run scored came on a fielder's choice. The only guy that has a hit is Kelton Phillips.
A lot of these Western teams, whether it's Texas Southern or Grambling, that's a lot of how they make their hay. Those sort of plays and just kind of filling up the bases and causing havoc.
Now here's Kelton Phillips, who does have the 2 hits for Texas Southern. Fastball inside, strike 1. Was caught stealing in the first after a single up the middle and then came around to score after his single to the right side. Wirt misses it outside. UAPB takes a 2-0 lead over Alabama A&M with a 13-7 win.
Rough year for Alabama A&M, man.
Yeah.
They got to figure it out down there with that program.
1-1. Inside, forcing Phillips to lean back. We were thinking, right, with the abolishment of divisions, it would give a chance for teams like Alabama A&M or Mississippi Valley to step up. Line drive, base hit, first base side. 2 on, nobody out, now third straight ground ball single for Kelton Phillips.
We talked about it last night. I mean, you got to be careful. Of course, a 6-1 lead is different than a 2-0 lead, but if you give that energy to the Texas Southern dugout, they're one of these teams that just takes it and runs with it. They just feed off of it. They'll just keep piling up, and the longer it goes and the longer you allow the rally to go, put a couple runs on the board, I mean, it'll really, really snowball on you quickly.
The other final score that I have is Jackson State takes a 2-0 lead over Southern in that series. 8-0 that final. After last night's game, they won 8-7. Real back-and-forth affair up in Jackson, Mississippi. But Jackson State now forces Southern to the brink. There is a scenario where Southern could still drop to the 8th seed. Fastball outside, strike 1. This is Bryce Hughes. Flied out to center in the first, was hit by a pitch and stranded on third in the third in his first 2 plate appearances. If Southern gets swept, breaking ball, strike 2. And Texas Southern takes one of the last 2 from the Wildcats here. Then Southern would be the 8, and Texas Southern would move up to the 7.
Southern is such a weird team, man. And really, the longer we go in this thing, doesn't really feel like they deserve playoff spot with how lazily they've played a lot.
That one gets back to the backstop. The runners will move up on a wild pitch, and now nobody out, 2 in scoring position. Logan Wirt not making things easy for himself in this inning after he looked so calm and collected in the first inning of work with an easy 1-2-3. We know that Florida A&M has a 2-0 lead over Alcorn State. They won 4-3 last night. It had come from 3-0 down late. Alcorn was up 3-0 in the 7th. And Florida A&M came back to win that one. A ball and 2 strikes. That slider misses away to Hughes, trying to get a swing and miss, 2-2.
And I don't know if we have an official final on today's game yet. I guess we do. It's 12-2 in favor of Florida A&M. So, again, what we figured would happen, a sweep in that series. Maybe not quite as easy as we thought it would be.
Which means the Wildcats do need to take games both today and tomorrow to lock up that number 1 seed, as they currently are tied on the win side with 22 each, FAMU and BCU. Just the Wildcats a half game up in the loss column. 3-2. Second and third, nobody out. Wirt to Hughes. Missed it, ball 4, bases loaded. We saw the hurry-up sign from Coach Hernandez down to the bullpen. That is the steepest drop-off, and that might be the end for Logan Wirt, as here comes Coach Hernandez. That's the steepest drop-off from inning to inning I think we've seen anybody all season.
Yeah, it all kind of started with the very first batter, right? I mean, first one wasn't a great miss, then it got worse, and then you hit him, and then it all kind of has continued to roll from there. And that's a little uncharacteristic from Ward, who a lot of times says, yeah, sure, he'll allow a share of base runners here or there, but he's often felt like the cool, calming presence in that middle relief, coming in for starters in the midweek and everything else, and some of the more high-leverage, stressful kind of opportunities you'll have against some of the teeth of the state of Florida in those midweeks. So I don't know if we're going to go to the pen or not in this spot, but as we mentioned, I think they're going to be pretty liberal in terms of
He's going to stay out there.
pulling guys early here, not letting the rope get too long.
Yeah. Bases loaded, nobody out. Coach Hernandez with a 5-run lead is going to try and let his junior right-hander work out of this. The batter will be Jaden Jones, who's been on twice, reached on an error in the first and walked in the third. Bases loaded, nobody out. The only other game
Second baseman, number 2, Jaden Jones.
that's going on in the SWAC today that we haven't mentioned is Mississippi Valley hosting Grambling. Valley won last night 12-10. That game started at it started an hour before we did, so they should be well along, but of course the live stats link does not work for Mississippi Valley. They are hosting. 0-1. Slow grounder towards second. This will give up a run. It'll be an RBI ground out for Jaden Jones. Evan Jubert comes in to score, and it's 6-2.
Venegas tries to kind of look back over at the runner for a quick second. I thought it might have been more than a problem than it was in terms of the runner beating out the throw over to first, but makes the play. Still another one where you don't love it, but you'll give up the run for the out there.
Number 34, Damian Garcia.
Now Phillips on third, Hughes on second with one out. Breaking ball caught the inside corner to Damian Garcia, also been on base twice, walked in the first, fielder's choice in the third. That fielder's choice ended up scoring the first run of the game for Texas Southern. Kelton Phillips came in the third. Breaking ball misses low, scrambling across is Rodriguez. I don't know, we talked a lot at the beginning of the year, or beginning of the baseball season, about the one division's really going to shake things up. Oh, no. Hit on the helmet is Damian Garcia, and that loads the bases again. Second hit by pitch of the inning.
No immediate rush out to the mound by Coach Hernandez. Still might be one batter, one swing away from...
Yeah, he's
nope,
done.
There it is.
He's waiting as long as possible. Coach Hernandez likes to do this.
Yeah, they tend to do it, give the reliever and the pen one last chance to get one more throw in.
Really tough inning for Logan Wirt. Hit by pitch, single walk, ground out, hit by pitch. And it looks like it might be Zambrano coming in for the Wildcats here. Try and settle this thing down.
That's going to be Roses. This is another big spot
Wow.
for him.
Carlos Rosas was excellent his last time out against Stetson. And another unproven sophomore arm that most of the time the last 2 years when he's come into the game, it's been in situations where the game has already been decided. This game has definitely not been decided. Bases loaded, one out, Wildcats up by 4. The tying run is at the plate in the form of Jaden Flores.
Yeah, you're really banking on here that, like you mentioned, the Stetson game, and either further back, I mean, Alabama A&M, he was solid 2 innings, just allowed the 1 earned run. Really hoping that it's not fool's gold there, because you go back one outing before that, and it's an inning and 2/3 at USF, where he's allowing 5 earned on 7 hits, 2 walks, and 1 2/3. So this is a guy that, you see the upward trajectory, right? Didn't get a whole lot of time last year, and still trying to find his spot in a crowded bullpen back there, but finally starting to show some flashes. And when you talk about getting an opportunity to really take that next step, this is about the best you can get.
This is the 7th appearance for Rosas on the year. This is only his 2nd appearance in conference play. His only other conference appearance was at Alabama A&M. back on the 11th of April. Went 2 innings, gave up a run on 3 hits, struck out 2. On the year, a 5.84 ERA for Roses, 12 1/3 innings. He's given up 9 runs on 17 hits, 8 earned. Striking out 8 and walking 4. He's given up 4 home runs, no other extra base hits. And thrown 199 pitches. So his first pitch to Jaden Flores will be pitch number 200 of the year.
For the Tigers,
For Carlos Rosas, the young sophomore out of Puerto Rico. And you kind of see the same trajectory with Carlos Rosas as you see in a guy like Carlos Jasmin, who in the last 2 or 3 appearances has really kind of changed the narrative about him. Goes with a 12-6 curve first pitch, misses inside to Flores. Nowhere to put him. Phillips on third, Hughes on second, Garcia on first, 1 out. Wildcats trying to maintain the 6-2 advantage. 1-0. Fastball pops out of the glove. 2 balls, no strikes. I mentioned that Stetson appearance. 4 2/3, 2 runs on 3 hits. 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Just 1 earned run for Carlos Rosas. But he's behind 2-0 here to Flores. Finally a strike. The Wildcat arms can get into these ruts where it just seemingly is impossible to throw a strike. We've seen it over the last couple of years where they'll have these innings where they walk 5, 6+ guys in an inning. 2-1. Ground ball to third. Eats up Martinez. He goes to second. On to first. Another inning-ending double play. The second one started by Andre Martinez. That one was tougher than the first one because he caught him upside the chest. 1 run on 1 hit, and the bases left loaded. And we go to the bottom of the 5th. Wildcats up 6-2 here on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the 5th. The Wildcats use some good defense to escape another jam, to give up another run. And they've seen their 6-0 lead trimmed to 6-2. Jorge Rodriguez stands in to face the graduate student Sydney Moore from Port Isabel, Texas. Started at Schreiner University before coming over in the offseason to Texas Southern. A 5.85 ERA for Moore. And it's a 1-1 count after that one went up, and I think hit a light fixture up on top of the roof there. 1 ball, 1 strike. 20 innings pitched for Moore on the year, a 5.85 ERA. As I mentioned, he's given up 15 runs on 20 hits, 13 earned. Upstairs, 2-1. Striking out 12 and walking 18. He's allowed 3 doubles, no triples, 3 homers, 3 wild pitches. Hasn't hit anybody. His record is 2-1 with 1 save. His wins against Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, and Alabama State. And his 1 save came against Alabama A&M. 3 balls, 1 strike. After that one went up and in to Rodriguez, who homered to right center field in the first and flew out to left in the second. And he puts one in the air down the left field line, hooking and foul. And Joubert almost caught up to that one. Barely flashed past his glove as it landed in foul territory.
Yeah, he was running so fast. I think it actually got a little bit behind him, so he was a little bit ahead of where the ball was and just kind of had to fling the glove up there behind it. It was an impressive rundown either way.
And nice job by Rodriguez to put bat on ball. That was inside and really shortened his swing. Last night, Jorge Rodriguez had 2 hits and was walked once. 3-2. Fouled it straight back. Count holds. Sidney Moore stands at 5'10", reaches way behind his head, really curls his torso up when he comes to the plate. High pop on the infield. Jogging towards first is Rodriguez. The second baseman, Jones, will put it away for the first out. That's the first pop-up on the infield for the Wildcats tonight. They had a bunch of them last night that balls just went straight up in the air.
Still would like to see another, consistency at the plate obviously is ideal, but another good little flurry of the Wildcats. Doesn't have to be the long ball, just to be putting guys on. You don't want to, again, kind of fall into the rut. This game's still not out of hand by any means.
Wildcats haven't had a base runner since Ray Placencia's single with 2 outs in the third. So 7 of the last 8 Wildcats have gone down. Armani Newton behind 0-1. He singled in the first on the infield, then grounded out to first unassisted. Misses that one upstairs, does Moore. Last time out for Moore had 2 appearances against Florida A&M last weekend. Both just went a third of an inning. Swing and a miss from Armani Newton. Gave up 2 runs on a hit both times. Struck out 1, walked 6 across 2/3 of an inning. But he's ahead of Armani Newton 1-2. Newton steps out of the box, calls for time. Looks like he's trying to stretch out that left leg, maybe just trying to buy time. Hunter Allen, first base coach, looks at him for support. Ball and 2 strikes. 1 away. Bottom 5 on the Jorge Rodriguez pop-up. Sidney Moore flips the ball in his right hand, now comes set. Newton watches it inside, 2-2. I talked about Logan Wirt, whose ERA has only gone down in his last couple of appearances. Sidney Moore's ERA has gone the other way. Didn't give up a run until his 5th appearance of the season. Newton pops it up on the infield again to the right-hand side. Jones will squeeze it. And 2 straight pop-ups to the second baseman, 2 away.
And there's what you talk about, right? Falling into the ruts a little bit. Many times in these games, it kind of comes in the early innings, right? It takes until the 5th or 6th, and the Wildcats are posting that 5-run rally that we talk about, how you only need an inning or so to beat a lot of these teams with how potent this offense can be at times. But you're really selling yourself short if you're doing that back-to-back or filling up an inning with nothing but swings like that.
I want to go back to the 3rd game of the season as Jesus Venegas swings and misses, and it's 0-1. Where the Wildcats put 8 runs on Stony Brook in the first inning and lost the game. 11-8. Not saying that they're going to allow Texas Southern to come all the way back. That's a nasty curveball by Moore, and it's 0-2. But it is kind of the vibes that this game has given off a little bit, where they think they have it in the bag, they put a bunch of runs up early, and they just kind of go away for the rest of the game. 0-2. Jesus Venegas says that ball hit him. Home plate umpire Robert Nunez says, I disagree. From up here, it didn't look like it hit him.
No,
but Venegas immediately started walking towards first.
Yeah, no flinch, no anything. A graze at best. Maybe if you sell that one a little more, you have a chance.
1-2. Moore trying to get out of the inning. And he does. Venegas strikes out. And 1, 2, 3 go the Cats for the second time in a row as we go to the sixth. 6-2 Bethune-Cookman here on the CatEye Network. We go to the sixth here in Sanford. 6-2 Wildcats.
Here at the top of the sixth. Designated hitter
It
number
was
6,
6-0 after the first 2 innings,
Jason
and Texas Southern has continued to chip away, put guys on base. Carlos Rosas, who came in and got the last 2 outs of the fifth after Logan Wirt gave up 1, is in. Remains on the mound. His first pitch is low ball 1 to Jason Lazo. Lazo walked in the second, was caught in the middle of a double play, and popped out in foul territory to Andre Martinez at third in the fourth. Fastball outside. I don't know what it is. And maybe it's just the inconsistency of working at mid to low major baseball. 3-0 now. But sometimes you have days where no one can come in and throw a strike. Absolutely nobody. And it's been endemic for the Wildcats today. Corey was wild. Wirt looked good in his first inning and then couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in his second inning. And now Rosas throws a 4-pitch walk.
Well, that's 4 straight pitches there where they set up high but middle of the plate. And he missed the first 2 low and then the next 2 outside. And so it's not just trying to pick a corner. He's not being done any disservice by Rodriguez behind the plate, just straight up missing spots. And again, we're getting the hurry-up sign from Coach Hernandez to whoever down there in the bullpen. We still can't see the home bullpen from our spot up here, but they're not going to waste any time getting out from under it if it gets hairy again.
First pitch, a strike. That one caught the outside corner and low to Jalen Carlton, who's 0 for 2. Flew out to left and struck out, did Carlton. He is the only strikeout victim of the game for Texas Southern, and was the final batter that Joel Corey faced back in the third. Bounced to the plate, and it's 1-1. Corey went 3 full innings, gave up a run on 2 hits, walked 3, struck out 1. Time called as a ball escapes the Texas Southern bullpen out there. Then Logan Wirt went an inning in the third. Gave up a run on a hit. Walked one, but hit 2 batters. I need to amend my previous statement. The Texas Southern struck out twice today. High fly ball center field. Figueroa has to come in on it, and he makes the catch. Flores struck out. That was the last batter that Corey faced, and then Jalen Carlton struck out against Logan Wirt back in the 4th. The Wildcats have 2 strikeouts on the day. Now 1 away, and we're going to have a pinch hitter here for Texas Southern. Jason Lazo on first after a leadoff walk. Carlton flied out to center field. And the pinch hitter for Texas Southern is going to be Edmundo Alanis.
Edmundo Alanis.
From
Edmundo
Edinburgh,
Alanis.
Texas. All the way down there by the Mexican border. Edinburgh is where University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is. Talk about a baseball team that's had a really good season out of nowhere. Our UTRGV has been unbelievable.
It's a fun little athletic department down there. Certainly one on the rise.
Getting football, too, starting this fall for the first time ever, UTRGV.
Yeah, some of the renders for that stadium they're trying to build down there are really sweet.
Well, it's not originally their stadium. There was a pro soccer team down there. 1-1.
I'm talking about the one they've proposed.
Oh, I haven't seen that. I just know what they're doing with the stadium that's already there. It used to be the pro soccer team, Rio Grande Valley FC. It doesn't exist anymore. They're just repurposing it for football.
Yeah, no, they've got... maybe it's updating the one they have. I'm not sure. But anyway, they have renders of what they're looking to do. And it is a really sweet little operation.
Edmundo Alanis is a transfer from Ranger College. Batting just 135 on the year. In the air, left field. Lee will track it down, 2 away.
That's a nice rebound from Roses. It really starts with attacking, right? And the first batter we talked about, I don't think the game plan was to nibble by any means. Just kind of miss your spots, but settle in, and that's what really middle relief and longer relief is about. Is toning down on the misses, staying as consistent as you can, and just working some easy balls into the outfield or easy grounders. That's an easy one right there.
Evan Jubert now has one of the 2 TSU runs, watches one down and in ball 1. Jubert grounded out to third in third and was hit by a pitch and came around to score in the 5th, the 1 run that Logan Wirt allowed. 1 on 2 out here, top 6. Wildcats up 6-2. That one's another pop-up, but it's going to spin foul out of play behind the plate. And there is no shame in being a pitch-to-contact guy in this league. If you're efficient, you get easy ground balls and lazy pop-ups, you can get out of innings quickly. Jackson State almost won a SWAC title last year doing almost exclusively that. Fouled straight back 1 and 2.
Tanner Bocabello is a guy on Friday nights who is, in his 2 seasons here, has lived off of that, right? He's not going to post the high strikeout numbers that even Edwin Sanchez or Joel Corey have at times, say for a stray night here or there, but he just pounds the zone, and he's, preseason pitcher of the year for a reason, just doing that. So it's a good message to everybody up and down the lineup.
Rosa's trying to get out of the inning. Here's the 1-2 to Jubert. Upstairs, 2-2, trying to get him to swing. That's the kind of pitch that the Wildcats have been hacking at too much, that up and in fastball against Stetson. They struck out 11 times. 10 of their swinging strike threes were on fastballs up and in. 2-2. Swing and a miss, tipped into the glove, and that's the end of the inning. First strikeout of the night for Rosas. He allows an opening walk, but then gets 3 straight. No runs, no hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Wildcats looking for their first offense since the 2nd inning, as they still lead 6-2 here on the CatEye Network. We go to the bottom of the 6th. As maybe one of these days I'll learn to operate this machinery correctly and get us started on time. Jeter Poyeto leads off. He's 0 for 2 with a fly out and a ground out, but 2 hard hit balls. They'll face the new pitcher, Cameron Walton, native of Fort Worth, Texas, transfer from New Mexico, the redshirt junior. But he redshirted at UNM, and then this is his second year with the Texas Southern Tigers. Walton's first pitch, low and away ball 1 on the breaking ball. He's got a 7.89 ERA, Walton, and 21 2/3 innings pitched. 20 runs on 30 hits, 19 earned. Striking out 11 and walking 19. He's allowed 6 doubles, a triple, 7 homers, and has hit 6 batters. Sorry, no homers, 7 wild pitches, and has hit 6 batters. Again, his ERA 7.89, had an ERA over 19 in 5 appearances in 2024. He's behind Jeter Poyeto 2-0. And now he's behind him 3-0 as that one gets to the backstop.
Yeah, kind of another typical back end of the SWAC bullpen kind of arm. He's got kind of a lazy breaking ball, a fastball with not a ton of velocity on it. And really, based on those numbers, can't consistently locate super well. So I expect to see, or I'd like to see, plenty of bats on shoulders until he can prove otherwise.
Well, Poyeto keeps that bat right where it is, takes a leadoff walk. That's the first base runner for the Wildcats since the 3rd inning.
Well, and if I'm Placencia coming to the plate now, I'm not making any effort. I mean, we're already going to see a meeting on the mound here after that, but I'm not going to make any effort to swing.
In fact, Ray Placencia was the last Wildcat to reach base back in the 3rd. The Wildcats had then been sat down in order 3 straight times. So Garcia, we have a bunch of new defensive changes for Texas Southern. Garcia, who is at first, is now playing left field. Alanis, who pinch hit, is now at first. Alex Diaz, who caught last night, is behind the plate replacing Elijah Rodriguez. And Jubert is out of the game. I mentioned in between innings, Bryce, it kind of feels like a midweeker. Everybody gets in, everybody gets an inning of pitch.
Well, it feels like a Texas Southern team, right, that knows where they're at. They know what they can, or in this case, what they can no longer do in the SWAC standings. They're kind of content. So you're going to see everybody play a little bit. And this game is, like we've said plenty of times, I mean, it's not out of reach by any means.
Damian Garcia, who moves from first base to left field, started in left field last night. So he's been all over the diamond in the first 2 games of this series. Placencia with Poyeto on first after a walk and nobody out. Squares to bunt, watches a strike inside corner. And the new pitcher for Texas Southern, Cameron Walton, redshirt junior out of Fort Worth. That one way inside. 1-1. Walton also came in and pitched an inning and a 1/3 against Florida A&M last weekend. Gave up a run on 3 hits. No strikeouts, a walk. Swing and a miss by Placencia, and it's 1-2. 11 strikeouts, 19 walks for Walton on the season. Whoa! Over the head of Ray Placencia. That wild pitch allows Jeter Poyeto to go to second base. Sometimes, if you can't get anything going with the bats, in this league specifically, sometimes you just got to trust that the opponents will give something to you. And we're going to see it in the tournament next week. It never fails. Somebody will come in and just be unable to throw strikes, or we'll just groove them down the middle, and the Wildcats will take advantage. They have every year. It was against Texas Southern last year.
It really does. I mean, when you get down to, not only are the arms tired, but they're also not used to being in high leverage spots when the high leverage arms are tired. I mean, you're going to see outings like that. It's just what we expect.
2-2, way outside, full count. Poyeto, who thought that one was got to the backstop, made a dash for third and had to run all the way back. I half expected Diaz to try and throw down to second base, but the second baseman, Jones, was not aware of the situation. Full count on Placencia. Up and out, ball 4. And there's 2 on 2 walks with nobody out.
That might already be the end for Walton. It's
Quick hook for Cameron Walton. He goes nothing and gives up 2 walks, so responsible for the 2 base runners, and he will be replaced by John Moya, the freshman. Two-way player, listed as both an outfielder and a left-handed pitcher. Anytime I see a two-way player in the SWAC, I'm reminded of what Mississippi Valley did in our series against them this year.
Yeah.
Throw 3 openers with outfield players pitching and used all their best arms out of the bullpen after couple of innings, 2-3 innings. It was very odd.
And it's not, at the lower levels, I feel like the further down you go in baseball, the more you're going to see of the two-way guys. Even at this level of college ball, you see a lot of guys that can do both because they grow up doing both. And it's only the further up you go is when you're kind of told by coaches, by advisors, whatever, that you kind of got to pick one. So it doesn't surprise me that Valley would go to that. You still see him trickling around throughout this league, and even up and beyond past that one. And this pitch and change here is a pretty simple one. It's got to just find somebody who can throw strikes. Nothing else really matters. Just find the zone.
It'll be John Moya, the freshman out of Pearland, Texas, and Pearland High School, making his 17th appearance of the season. He's the ERA 10.18. In 20 1/3 innings pitched, Moya has given up 25 runs on 23 hits, 23 of those 25 runs earned. He's struck out 8 and walked 8, allowed 4 doubles, no triples, 3 homers, 3 wild pitches, and 5 hit by pitches. He's 0-1, his one loss coming 2 outings ago in a 16-15 slugfest against Southern. I'm kind of glad we haven't yet gotten a game like that this weekend, which we kind of came into the weekend thinking we might get one that was like that. And, of course, we still have the game tomorrow. But last night, a low-scoring game. This one, after the Wildcats scored 5 in the first, thought we might be headed to something like that. But Texas Southern defensively has settled down. The Wildcats, with 2 on, nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th, have their best chance since really the first inning to scratch some runs across.
Well, really, at this ballpark, right, we've seen, feels like, of course, not 100% of the time, but we've seen so much drama, so many close ones. Obviously, every game in the Bama State series felt like it was a kind of a nail-biter, but that one's back at the Jack. But here, Florida A&M, save for the final game of the weekend, everyone felt close. You get Valley comes in here, obviously that's a different one. But
well, even Valley we had to walk off once.
Just it's never felt easy here. And, of course, with the wall kind of evening odds for a lot of these teams being able to showcase their power a little bit. It's been interesting.
The new pitcher, John Moya, will face Sergio Rivera, who's 1 for 1. Fielder's choice in the 3rd. That ended that inning. And then ripped a RBI double to the left field wall in the 1st, scoring the 5th and final run of that inning, that being Ray Plasencia. Plasencia is on 1st, and Cheater Pueyo's on 2nd. After 2 straight bunts. Rivera bunts it to try and move the runners over, but it goes foul. We haven't seen a successful bunt tonight. And it's hard bunting on this field specifically. If you look at the grass around the home plate area, it's very much raised from the dirt, and the grass is also not in the best of shape after being played on all spring.
And even just the difference between the grass and the turf is a different kind of approach when you come from the Jack to this park when it comes to bunting and playing those weird bounces.
He'll pull back the bunt, trying to go to 3rd, and being in there with some nifty base running is Cheater Pueyo.
Didn't even have to slide. Good heads-up play.
Give him a steal for that, so now runners on the corners with nobody out. And in a 1-1 count, now with a runner on 3rd, I'm not sure if Rivera's going to lay down the bunt again.
Or do we see the double steal attempt that we've seen on occasion?
I would not put it past the Wildcats to try and double steal here. Plasencia on 1st is not the fastest guy in the world, but Pueyo does have some wheels on 3rd. The 1-1. Inside, 2-1.
Luckily for the runner on 1st, really in that double steal more of a decoy than anything else. But also with no outs, I'm not sure you're, I don't want to call it desperate when you're up 6-2, but I think if there's a couple outs, if we see 2 on the board, then that's when you are probably a little bit more likely to want to sacrifice it.
Popped up behind the plate, now to play, 2-2. And I think we've seen that double steal work maybe single-digit times this year. It feels like the rest of the SWAC has kind of figured it out.
Also, they just haven't gone to it as much as they did last year. That's certainly part of it as well. Felt like every single time it was first and third. Really didn't matter the situation. They were just going back to it every time.
In the dirt, down to second. There's the throw, but Poyeto wasn't paying attention, and he stays on third.
Yeah, I think you can see there that wasn't even the best effort running by Placencia that he possibly could have put forth for that one. Just kind of jogging his way down there. Hoping to maybe miss the throw a little bit.
Now second and third, nobody out. Excellent chance for the Wildcats here. Full count on Rivera. Moya, the freshman, at a big spot for Texas Southern Deals. Ground ball up the middle. There's a base hit to center field. Scoring is Poyeto. Placencia on his horse. The throw to the plate is cut off. And it's a third RBI of the game for Sergio Rivera. That one a single up the middle, scoring Poyeto and Placencia. And for the first time since the second inning, the Wildcats are back on the scoreboard. It's 8-2.
And it's a point we've made so many times about this lineup, right? And about a guy in Sergio Rivera who was a consistent top of the lineup guy a season ago, comes into the year with the all-SWAC honor, but didn't see a whole lot of playing time early. And then when you're able to look up and you see that you've got that all-SWAC guy batting 8th because your lineup is so deep, it gives you at-bats like that. Outstanding and a great weapon to have.
Here's Daniel Figueroa, 0 for 2 tonight. First pitch outside, ball 1. Figueroa flew out to center to end the first.
Ooh.
They threw to second.
Or did the ball sail away and the throw back to the pitcher? I think that's what it was.
Oh, I was looking down to
I was too, but just the way it kind of slow rolled its way over there, I think that's all that was.
So Figueroa flew out to center in the first and grounded out to third in the fourth. His third at-bat of the night. Watches a fastball middle. 1-1. There's a lot of guys in this Texas Southern bullpen that don't go for long. And Moya, this is his 17th appearance of the year, hasn't thrown over 2 innings in any of them. Last 2 appearances, 1 inning. Against Southern, against Florida A&M. His longest outing of the year was 2 1/3 against Alabama State on the 26th of April. In the dirt, good cover by Diaz. Rivera stays put at first. Still nobody out here in the 6th. 2 already in, 2 walks and a 2 RBI single. Let's make it 8-2. The 2-1 off the end of the bat, fouled away, 2-2. Every pitcher, it seems, that has come into the game for Texas Southern today, just 1 inning about this season. As I said, it really feels like a midweek game right now. 2-2. Figueroa stays alive, taps it back to the screen.
Yeah, if Texas Southern rolls into tomorrow with nothing to play for standings-wise, I think they're just going to kind of roll over a little bit, which I think is fortunate for the Wildcats. That doesn't mean you still don't come to play, because you don't know that. I just, if anything, based off of this game, just my best guess.
Texas Southern would need to win tonight and hope Southern gets swept. Well, no, because if Southern gets swept, and even if they win tomorrow and take 2 out of 3, they'd still be the 7th seed. Line drive up the middle. That's a base hit. And because Sergio Rivera was stealing, he's going to go all the way to third. Sergio Rivera almost got his head taken off because the ball was hit straight at him.
He sure did, and just another great heads-up base running play. He is got to be the smartest base runner on this Wildcats team. A guy that we know from last year, just stole so many bases, so much experience doing it. He leads the SWAC in the category this year, so he's just so intelligent when it comes to knowing what to do, knowing where to be on the bases.
Sergio Rivera, 31 steals on the season. Here's someone who really needs a good AB. Darrell Lee, 0 for 3 today. 1 for 8 in the series so far. Big breaking ball, didn't catch the zone. Last night, singled up the middle in the 7th, hit into the game-ending double play in the 9th, struck out, flew out. And even the time when he did get a hit, he was caught stealing. Inside 2-0. He's got runners on the corner. Still nobody out here in the 6th. Wildcats up 8-2. And a chance to really break this one open.
Now we're going to see a little hitters meeting. We see these a lot in these situations, Derek Cartaya. A lot of times, especially after a couple of pitches in the at-bat, and whether he has seen something either from the arm on the mound or on the opposite, right? He doesn't necessarily like a swing, doesn't like a take, brings everybody in, talks it through. I wish we had kind of kept track of outcomes following these kind of meetings, but it does feel like a lot of times it does result in some good contact, a better approach.
And I wonder, because you know Derek Cartaya is so detailed with his scouting reports, but if he looks at guys like Moya and Walton when he does these reports. Because guys who haven't pitched that much. It's a suicide squeeze. Lee is going to go to first and get an RBI because scrambling home from third was Sergio Rivera before Flores could even make a play on the ball.
And that, you talk about the instant impact of that meeting there. Clearly saw what they liked for the play. Maybe at the very least kind of a lack of preparedness for Texas Southern on that kind of play. Drop it down, fooling everybody. And that, I think, is a good way that you can get Darrell Lee kind of back into a good rhythm where it's a good do-your-job type play, executes it great, and another run closer to potentially getting out of here early for the Wildcats.
Rivera scores. Figueroa moves to second, and here's Andre Martinez, a ball and no strikes. Stay up to date with everything BCU Athletics by checking out the Wildcats on social media. Give BCU Athletics a like on Facebook and follow the Wildcats on X and Instagram at BCU_Athletics. The 1-0 runner goes. Ball in the dirt. No throw. Stolen base for Daniel Figueroa. And I think this game, especially if Figueroa can come around to score here, will be a confidence booster for him going into the playoffs. Figgy has only started 15 games this season, well below what he must have thought coming into the year.
He's a guy that, when you think about playoffs and roster limits, that you have to consider his place in that lineup.
He's been the go-to as a pinch runner this year.
Absolutely, and I think that's what's going to earn him that spot in Birmingham, if nothing else, because he, like Sergio, is not only has the speed, the wheels, but he's an intelligent base runner. That is absolutely perfect for that pinch running spot.
Little puncher over the second baseman's head into shallow right field. Well, it's not as flashy as the 2 home runs for Andre Martinez, but it's still an RBI single, and it is 9-0 Bethune-Cookman. No, correction, 10-0 Bethune-Cookman. Daniel Figueroa scores from third. The Wildcats have 4 in the frame.
Just now, maybe call it the last 2 or 3 pitches, have we seen some more activity in that pen? They certainly expected more out of Moya than they've gotten. They really had no choice now, and it hasn't been necessarily the same lack of control that you saw from Walton, but just a lot of plate being found. The Wildcats are barreling them up well enough.
Called a strike on the low inside corner to Jorge Rodriguez. Homer to the first, and then flew out to left to the second, and popped up on the infield in the 5th for Jorge Rodriguez. Who, with a good close to tonight's game, and he'd have to be excellent tomorrow, but there's still the realm of possibility that Jorge Rodriguez finishes the season batting over 400. Currently 391. 1-1. Swing and a miss. Chase the fastball up and out, 1-2. On away in the inning, Wildcats' first 4 reached base, all came in to score. Off the inside of the bat, popped up foul territory. Alanis giving chase onto the roof of the press box. Well, we hope you'll join us not just for tomorrow's Senior Day festivities that start at 2 p.m. and the final game of the regular season, but our radio broadcasts from Birmingham, Alabama of the SWAC tournament. You can also find us here locally on 1380 WELE, the Cat Radio. That one came in and hit Jorge Rodriguez, so the carousel of cats continues.
If you've ever watched any of the SWAC broadcasts, especially these neutral ones, especially for these tournaments, right, where the same broadcast crew that's asked to cover a lot of games. You'll probably quickly be frustrated, not necessarily with the crew. I'm not giving them any, shade or anything. I mean, I know it's a long week. It's a lot of teams. It's a lot of players. You don't get the time, and often the benefit with a lot of SWAC schools of getting the information you need to produce a full broadcast. So if you really want a much more fleshed out, much more, intimate look at the team and at the games and at the opponents. Of course, you'll get pregame, postgame. Definitely would recommend flipping our broadcast on. You can certainly, for those of you more technically inclined, can play the YouTube broadcast with our audio, overlay it. Yeah. Takes a little bit of elbow grease there. It's not
I had to show my parents how to do that for the ESPN when we were on ESPN, and they want to listen to me but watch the ESPN broadcast. Here's Armani Newton. Singled and scored in the first. And then is 0 for 2 since then. A ground out to first and a pop out on the infield. 2 on, 1 out. That one misses up and in. And you wonder how long the Texas Southern coaching staff could let John Moya ride with this one.
It's probably one more base runner if I had to guess, or get out of the inning.
Shooting for the moon is Newton, as he's behind on that one. 1-1. Come be a part of BCU Athletics and support the CatEye Network if you or your business is interested in partnering with us here on the CatEye Network. Reach out to Wildcats Athletic Communications, as that one's on the line, and fair ball! It touched inside the chalk and heads to the corner. Scoring from second is Martinez. First to third goes Rodriguez, and Newton is in there with an RBI double. That's a confidence builder for Armani Newton. Hard hit, found inside the foul line, and we're going to get some opposition from head coach Michael Robertson. But the first base umpire, Royce Morrison, was very adamant. That was a fair ball down the line.
Yeah, it's another one. We give our regular speech here on this program where it's no benefit of replay, so it's really just more of a due diligence by everybody. He's probably just going to request that you bring all the officials in and talk about it and confirm it. I'm sure he'll be upset if the call doesn't go the other way, but it's no different than if Coach Hernandez was having the same conversation. Call is the call. There's no way to reverse it unless one official on the field, who likely would have already said something if he had a different view of it, would have made a call.
And the only one is the home plate umpire, Robert Nunez. And Michael Rodriguez is going to pinch run for Armani Newton. The other thing this could be
is a chance for the bullpen to finish up.
more chance for the bullpen to be in, and that'll be the end for John Moya. Well, after Jace Maynard, Sidney Moore held the Wildcats for 3 full innings, Cameron Walton faced 2 batters, walked them both. Then John Moya came in and gave up single, RBI ground out, single, hit by pitch, double. Wildcats have 5 in the frame. They lead it 11-2. And if one more run crosses in this inning, they'll go to the 7th with a chance to be 3 outs away from getting out of it here.
And don't discount the importance of that, right? Because as much as we talk about how you want to get everybody a chance to play, all your relievers a chance to pitch, getting out of here with less, tread on the tires, less work in the arm of each reliever, guys on the field, less chance to be injured, all those little things that you look for when you're starting to prep for a long tournament run, that's important. And not to mention, it gives you an extra little advantage when, again, pride is still on the line, trying to take that regular season title tomorrow as you kind of demoralize Texas Southern a little bit, or push them closer to that, you want to call it checking out, or just kind of turning their attention to Birmingham and leaving Saturday alone. It could be a pretty big swing for you there.
It'll be the 16th appearance on the mound this season for Joshua Prieto, the junior from Katy, Texas, transfer from Hill College. Prieto's ERA is 15.21, 23 2/3 innings pitched on the year. He's allowed 41 runs on 42 hits, 40 earned. striking out 14, walking 26. He's allowed 8 doubles, 1 triple, 5 homers, thrown 5 wild pitches and 4 hit by pitches. His record is 2-3. Wins against Houston Tillotson and Prairie View A&M. Losses against UTSA and Alabama State. And this is kind of a good preview about maybe not game 1 in a tournament, but game 3, 4, 5 in a tournament. If you get that far, the kind of arms that teams are going to be forced to throw at you.
And one of the things we've talked about with this Wildcat offense throughout the year is their impressive ability to adjust to new arms and quickly. And I think a lot of that goes to the scouting. A lot of that goes to the pre-at-bat kind of meeting that they have with everybody when a new arm comes in. They've been quick with it. I mean, there's been a lot of instances where it's not just the arms at the bottom of the pen that you look at and say, well, that's what we expect. No, they've come in and hit some good pitchers.
Prieto, first pitch to Jesus Venegas, outside ball 1. Venegas on the night homered to dead center in the first. That was the third of the 3 Wildcat home runs in that inning. But after that, flied out to right and struck out in the 5th. 1-0. Hit him. Well, last time he was up, Jesus Venegas claimed he got hit before being struck out. That time he actually got hit. And now the bases are loaded, and the Wildcats have batted around. Here's Jeter Poyeto, who started off the inning.
Yeah, it feels like we've been at 1 out for an eternity.
The only out of the inning was the sac bunt by Carroll Layton.
Well, that really, I mean, you talk about, feels like we're due for a couple of run rules when you get to the tournament. Not just, I don't mean for BCU, but in the tournament in general.
There always are.
They always look like this. Just can't get outs, can't throw strikes.
Ooh, Jeter Poyeto will really want that one back. Way out of the zone, just taps it back to the screen. Lucky he didn't put that one in play. It might have been a double play. So Poyeto, 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. Walked and scored earlier in this inning. Bases loaded, 1 out. The Wildcats have played in 5. They lead at 11-2. Prieto deals. Upstairs, 1-1. This is the 3rd pitcher of the inning for Texas Southern. Cameron Walton faced 2 batters, walked them both. John Mayo faced 6 batters, only got 1 out on a sac bunt. 1-1. Hit Poyeto in the head, and that's a run score. Walking in from 3rd is Rodriguez. Michael Rodriguez goes to 3rd. Venegas to 2nd, and Poyeto to 1st. 2nd straight hit by pitch across the pitcher change. Mayo hit 1, and now Prieto hits 1.
And just like that, 3 outs away.
It is 12-2 Bethune-Cookman. And Coach Hernandez, I think, is going to walk over and see if his freshman is all right, because that was right up by the head, knocked his helmet off.
You know, as we get ready for SWAC postseason awards, which are being voted on now, come out probably Monday or Tuesday. It's unfortunate that we can't submit a redshirt freshman. I understand it. You know, you want your true freshman when you're talking about freshman of the year. But Poyeto has come through, you know, with, you know, a year at a Wake Forest program where, you know, I'm sure from some frustrations, but a lot of learning done riding the bench. Comes in here and makes an immediate impact, man. Asking a lot for a freshman, even a redshirt freshman, to come in and start at shortstop. And he's been everything they could ask for. I mean, you see the quirks as a freshman. You see the little moments here or there that you say, oh, that's just a freshman moment. But, man, I mean, the sky's the limit when you talk about his future here and then beyond.
How many guys have we said that about this year, right? Carlos Hasmi,
Ladies and gentlemen, your
Carlos
attention, please.
Rosas. Insane bounce-back years after those tough true freshman seasons for both of them.
It's a credit, I mean, to the coaching, to the player development. If you want to say, you don't have necessarily a player development coach here, but it's a group effort, right, to get everybody that's on the pitching side and the hitting side. I mean, they've done a great job with this program of developing guys throughout their time here. There's some really shining examples on this year's team.
First pitch, a strike to Ray Plasencia. Placencia 1 for 1 with 2 walks and has scored both times he's been walked. Walked in the first and earlier in the 6th. He's behind 0-1 to Prieto. And he puts one in the air to left field. That's a long run for Garcia, and he's not going to get there. Scoring from third is Newton. In from second is Venegas. All the way from first is Jamie Villafane. He slides in safely. It's a bases clearing 3 RBI double for Ray Placencia. And the Wildcats are styling on the Tigers 15-2.
And we called for it coming into the day. We said, well, the one way that you erase a lot of frustrations from last night where it felt like you had it for so long and you just let it slip away is to just come out and mash and do what you do and win with the bats. And they have absolutely done that. And the pitching, of course, has been good on the other end, too. It hasn't been anything to, get overly concerned about, but the bats are doing what they do, and we know that that's how they're going to win this WAC tournament. The pitching is going to be there. We expect some high level of that. But the thing that has won them games and won them big so many times has been the consistency up and down the lineup and the ability for anybody. In this case, Placencia, a guy who hasn't seen the field as much as everybody else, still putting a fantastic swing on the ball, a really great hit, and a really great way to get yourself in prime position now to finish off the run rule.
The Wildcats have an OPS in the ballgame of 1545.
When the whole lineup gets hot, man, I just don't know where you find an out.
Sergio Rivera takes a strike on the inside corner. Rivera has had a really great night. RBI double in the first, fielder's choice in the third, 2 RBI single in the third, and a run scored. He's responsible for 4 runs by himself tonight. That one over the head of Rivera. Wild pitch. Placencia goes to third. And now, if you're Texas Southern, you're thinking, listen, we got to get out of this inning. There's still only 1 out. Since we're in the storytelling edition of this broadcast now, with the Wildcats up 15-2. Last month, on one of the weekends the Wildcats were on the road, I had a chance to go do some PA announcing for men's professional slow pitch softball down in Brevard County. And you can imagine those games get pretty ridiculous. Swing and a miss by Rivera, and it's 1-2. I think we had a game with 80 combined runs.
How long does that kind of game last?
It was 3+ hours. It was a long game. But even the guys that work that circuit normally said, this is absurd. Line drive, base hit, right field. Sergio Rivera has 4 RBIs and a run scored tonight.
There's just no black hole in this whole lineup when everybody's hitting. Yeah, you have a couple of guys who might be a little swing happy, but they still have that high end, right, where they're just capable of so much. And my goodness, you talk about pouring it on. The Wildcats are doing it. Looks a lot like when you mentioned slow pitch. I was walking to get our camera in center field last night, and there was the high school game or whatever it was going on in the field behind us. It was 12-14 in the 5th when I went out there, and before I left, in the 3 minutes it took me to take the camera down, it was 16-15. And the visiting team had taken the lead. I'm like, my goodness, not a whole lot of defense being played in that one.
Yeah. 16-2 Wildcats. This is position player pitching territory. But unfortunately, I don't think we do that here.
I don't think we've seen one this year.
Outside of Mississippi Valley's
which
nonsense, which they're all technically pitchers because they have innings pitched on the year.
Right.
You're not throwing in Darryl Lee on the mound or anything like that. I think the reason is because we don't play as many games as professional leagues do. You have a chance to throw some of your back-end bullpen guys in a game like this, and they won't pitch again for another couple of weeks. Ground ball, base hit, first base side, past the glove of Alanis. The hits continue for Bethune-Cookman. Rivera goes to second, Figueroa on first. And now another new pitcher. The fourth of the inning for Texas Southern as Prieto is done.
It's taken 3 combined guys to get the 1 out. And now we're going to try number 4. Again, this, you said it, and we've said it a couple times. This feels like one of those tournament games. It's just, it's interesting that Texas Southern has taken that approach. Yeah, sure, it got a little bit out of hand early, but especially with the way their bats kind of came alive late, you'd think maybe they want to try to keep it closer and give them a shot. They really just kind of started phoning it in from all the way back in the 3rd.
Well, and right, it was a 6-2 at one point, with the bases loaded and the tying run at the plate. Of course, Carlos Rosas induced the double play to get out of that jam.
But they really have just kind of let it go. And now, of course, you understand that that's one thing. But yeah, you're absolutely right. They were still forcing the issue on offense. And you really just kind of took it away from them, took away the chance.
So another new pitcher, the 4th of the inning, is David Medina, another freshman for Texas Southern. They have a very young pitching staff. And he'll come in with 1 out, 2 on, Rivera on second, Figueroa on first. And 10 in. Oh, sorry, 11 in the inning.
51 pitches thrown in this inning.
1 out.
And only 25 of them have been strikes, so that's kind of the start of it right there.
The Wildcats will also start throwing pinch hitters out there as Darrell Lee will be replaced after Medina finishes his warm-up pitches. David Medina, freshman from Houston, Texas, prepped at Waltrip High School. 1350 he's ERA, 16 innings pitched. He's given up 24 runs on 28 hits, 16 strikeouts to 10 walks. I think this is the first pitcher that Texas Southern has thrown in the inning with a positive walk-to-strikeout ratio. 6 doubles, 2 triples, 5 homers, 1 wild pitch, 2 hit by pitches for Medina. And Christopher Watson.
Chris Watson, pitch hitting for the Cats.
Will come on to pinch hit. But my final point, to go back to the slow pitch softball story, as the first pitch is a breaking ball outside, 1-0, is that a couple of times during that game, we had a double bat around, and I was scoring. I don't score by hand every game I do, even if it's just on PA. Off the end of the bat, foul away by Watson, 1-1. And I was in a 7-inning game with 13 innings on my scorecard, 2 squares from running out of room.
Know what you do? Scribble it onto a back of another page? How does that
Ground ball to short could be 2. Falling over is Hughes, but the play is turned and the side is at last retired. 11 runs in the inning for the Wildcats. I'm gonna let. Sorry, 10 runs, 7 hits, no errors, 1 left, and we go to the 7th. 16-2 Wildcats, 3 outs away from a run rule victory here on the CatEye Network. Well, to the top of the 7th we go, and this has gone from a semi-competitive contest to one that is anything but, as the Wildcats play 10 runs and almost double bat around in the bottom of the 6th. Carlos Rosas still on the mound to try and get the last 3 outs with a 4-run buffer here. Fouled straight back. Kelton Phillips has all 3 hits for Texas Southern tonight. Singled in the 1st, singled in the 3rd, singled in the 5th. Nobody else has a hit. All the other base runners for Texas Southern, as that one's inside 2-1, have been walks, hit by pitchers, or errors. That's a crazy stat.
It's good practice, too, right? You don't want the self-induced stuff to come back and bite you.
Rosas misses low. And at this point, just throw strikes, right? 16-2, 3 outs away. Try and get some contact, and don't do that as another walk. And I'm sure it doesn't matter what the final score ends up being. Coach Renette is going to come up here in the postgame and go, "We walked too many guys."
Yep. That's your job as a coach, but it's also like now, if you're Rosens, right, we're even in terms of the run rule, right? I mean, the game is out of reach, but the run rule is still feels like you've got some good cushion to it. They have to score 4, so just throw strikes. I mean, there's no reason to try to do anything fancy here.
Fouled away. First pitch swinging by Bryce Hughes. 0 for 1 with a hit by pitch and a walk, Hughes. Flied out to center in the 1st, just missed a home run to dead center. Hit by a pitch in the 3rd, walked in the 5th, stranded both times. Rosas the 0-1. Off the inside of the bat, fouled away, and it's 0-2. I'm sure that hit him. I guess it did, because they're putting him on. That's a weird one.
Hold on. Did I just stop paying attention for a second?
Yeah, I
I
thought about it too. He definitely fouled it off, but they sent him to first base.
Wait, but that's not possible.
I don't know.
You can't. What? Okay.
I can understand if it was like a balk or something, sending the runner to second. But on an 0-2 count, you don't give the batter first. I guess it's a hit by pitch. Here's Jaden Jones now. 2 on, nobody out. Fouled off the end of the bat, 0-2. So we're right back where we were 2 pitches ago, with the exception of there's 2 guys on base. And it's the 2 fastest guys on the Texas Southern team with the most stolen bases. Hughes with 44, Phillips with 22. 0-2. High pop, foul territory, first base side. This will be a long run for somebody.
We'll let you know if they made the catch in a minute, because we cannot see down in that corner.
It went right into the area of uncertainty. I don't think anybody made the catch because Jaden Jones is still at the plate. It'll just go in as a foul ball. Long run for Venegas, Rivera, and Placencia, who all chased after me. I still can't get over why Bryce Hughes is on first.
How can you call a hit by pitch on a foul? It's like when you swing at it, right, and it hits you.
Oh, catcher interference. I'm seeing. Line drive. Oh, it's off the glove of Placencia at first, and everybody's going to be safe. Oh, my goodness. That was hit right at Ray Placencia. I thought he was going to make the catch and double up Hughes. But now the bases are loaded and nobody out. And the twists and turns of this game continue.
They don't like to make things easy here, do they?
No. Play Placencia is going to get a new glove. He tosses that one aside. The trainer comes out and brings him a new glove.
Did maybe it go through the glove? You see that?
It went through the webbing, yeah. But anyway, if it wasn't 16-2, I'd be a little bit more concerned. First pitch ball to Damian Garcia, who's 0 for 0.
Left fielder number 34, Damian Garcia.
Walk, hit by pitch, fielder's choice. Bases loaded, nobody out. Well, I can amend to catcher's interference as to why Bryce Hughes was given first base. So walk, catcher's interference, and single. And the bases are loaded with nobody out. Rosas deals. Pop foul out of play, 2-1. It's always games like this, Bryce, that can end up getting a little weird.
Yeah, when everybody's kind of taking their foot off the gas a little bit and just kind of coasting along, and weird baseball things happen.
You'd like Rosas to be able to close this out, and he's now behind 3-1 and in danger of walking in a run. You don't want to have to burn another arm in a 16-2 ball game with one more to play tomorrow. And for the Wildcats, it would be a must-win to clinch the regular season title. 3-1 to Damian Garcia. Line drive, base hit, center field. Scoring from third is Phillips. Scoring from second is Bryce Hughes. And it's 16-4.
Yeah, and I think that might be the end for Rosas. It's definitely a different mentality, right? It's another one of those things that we look at as a fan and say, well, you should be pitching with, no worries, just going out there and doing your thing. It should be easy, right, to pitch in a situation like this. But when you come from, even the last time he was out there, it feels like an eternity ago. But there was leverage involved. There was a moment to it, and you're pitching with a different kind of energy, with a different look. And so then you turn that around and you look at the exact opposite, and your approach differs a little bit. So I understand that may be a piece of why it looks the way that it does.
So Carlos Rosas' night is done. He goes an inning and 2/3, gives up 2 runs on 2 hits. Just one of those earned. Walked 2, struck out 1. And Jaden Flores will come to the plate with a chance to keep this game going. 2 on, nobody out in a 16-4 game. And is that Carlos Husmein? I can't tell. No, it's not.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention please. Your attention please. Now pitching for Bethune-Cookman, number 25, Robert Lastra.
Oh, it's Lastra.
Lastra now pitching for the Cats.
They turn back to Robert Lastra, who pitched the last couple of innings last night.
Struck out the side in his last inning of work last night. So hoping to recreate a little bit of that.
And I'm guessing this is a move to hopefully get out of this inning quickly, end the game, and not have to burn an arm you haven't burned already. Keep everybody for tomorrow. We haven't seen Zambrano yet this weekend. Haven't seen Husmein yet. We saw Diaz last night.
It's definitely an interesting move, even
haven't
regardless.
Haven't seen Garrido yet this weekend.
Even regardless of the success. I think maybe with Pablo going tomorrow, you want to save some more arms just in the chance that things go south. You got plenty of guys ready to back him up.
Robert Lastra will come in to try and get the last 3 outs. But if Damian Garcia, who's on first, comes around to score, as does Jaden Jones, is on second, we'll play on.
Now batting, third baseman, number 17.
Of course, I'm not sure we'd play on that much further, considering you could still, quote-unquote, walk it off in the 7th.
Yeah.
With the way that Texas Southern pitching staff. But either way, you hope you don't get to that point.
The Miami-Dade College transfer Robert Lastra throws a breaking ball strike to Jaden Flores, who's 0 for 3. Fly-out, strikeout, ground into a double play. 6.53 ERA for Lastra. 30 1/3 innings pitched. Outside, dribbles out of the glove of the catcher. I'll run through the defensive changes that the Wildcats made to start this inning again. Chris Watson is now in left, replacing Darrell Lee. Jamie Villafana is now at short, replacing Jeter Poyeto. Here's the 1-1. Off the end of the bat, fly ball right field. Sergio Rivera has it covered. Tagging and trying to go to third is Jones, and the throw is cut off, so he'll get there. So runners on the corners with 1 down.
Just attacking the zone. Nothing complicated about it.
Those
Easy
three,
fly ball.
the 3 strikeouts last night from Lastra pushed his strikeout number on the season to 24. 16 walks for him as well.
The batter designated hitter number 6, Jason Lotso.
Now Jason Lazo, 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Popped out in foul territory in the 4th, the third base side. Walked in the 2nd and 6th. Caught in the middle of a double play in the 2nd, straight out on 1st in the 6th. We've got Lastra and Lazo, the pitcher and batter combo here. Runners on the corners. First pitch, a ball upstairs. A couple of games gone final in the SWAC already today. Alabama State sweeps Prairie View A&M 14-8, the final in that one. Swing and a miss from Lazo. Arkansas Pine Bluff takes a 2 lead over Bama A&M, 13-7. Jackson State dominates Southern 8-0 to take a 2-0 lead in that series. 1-1. Fouled away, 1-2. Grambling State and Mississippi Valley State were playing a doubleheader today. The first game should be well done, but of course, don't have stats linked for them. Tomorrow, just 4 games on the docket in the SWAC as Prairie View and Bama State are already done. 1-2. High pop, shallow left. Villafane back there makes the catch, and he'll keep the runner at third. And there's 2 away.
Well, that's 2 straight outcomes there. They're about as good as you could ask for, given the situation. All you've done is seen 1 runner advance. Everything else has been nice and easy.
So the Wildcats 1 out away from closing this out. Bryce, I want your opinion on something. We saw Alabama State and Prairie View play Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Given the choice, would you want to do that or stay Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the last series of the year?
I think it largely depends on what your starting pitchers want in terms of setting them up. I mean, what your schedule would look like going to the next week, setting them up for their regular routine.
First pitch strike to Jalen Carlton.
So if you find that Edwin Sanchez works better on 5 days of rest or 4 or whatever gets them closer to that mark, if it's somebody who works better in a routine or just more rest.
Check swing, strike 2. Wildcats 1 strike away from closing it out here. And evening up this series at 1 and putting the magic number to 1. Fouled away, we'll do the 0-2 again. In this game, which is likely only going to last 7 innings, is longer.
Significantly longer than
last night's game that went a full 9 innings. That's baseball for you. 0-2. High drive, left center field. Moving over and making the catch is Daniel Figueroa. And this one belongs to the maroon and gold. They scored early, they scored late, and they run-ruled Texas Southern 16-4.
Well, a pretty complete win, all things considered. I mean, it gets out of hand a little bit once you get to the big inning in the 6th. But, you know, you did what you needed to do, which is, frankly, you laid the hammer down a little bit. And we were kind of hoping to see that at some point last night, but it never quite came. And we said it multiple times throughout the broadcast. What you wanted to see tonight, in let's face it, a superior team in Bethune-Cookman in just about every way to this Texas Southern team. You wanted to see them assert the dominance a little bit. You wanted to see them take their place above them. And you set yourself up now for just win and clinch that title. You know, it would have been pretty discouraging if you take 2 or 3, even regardless of the title, because at the end of the day, this is something that coaching staff isn't going to be super excited about when they know there's plenty of work left to be done, and they've been in spots like this before. You just come through, take care of business. Very much a business approach like it tomorrow, but you set it up for that chance. Make no mistake about it, to Coach Hernandez, to this Wildcats team, the regular season title does mean something. It just doesn't mean everything. And so you come through, you assert your will a little bit, you show who you are, and you feel a lot better about yourselves heading into Sunday. Because let's face it, if you drop 2 or 3 to Texas Southern heading into the tournament, yeah, maybe the regular season title slips away, but I think you've got bigger problems, especially when you're considering now that Texas Southern very likely is going to be the team that you face first thing next week is now you kind of put them in their place a little bit. And there's plenty of baseball left. That's not to say that Texas Southern is a horrible team or that they're going to not be able to come back tomorrow or, of course, in the tournament next week and give you all they got. And I still think in many ways they kind of handed you this game later with some of the bullpen decisions. But you did what you needed to do. You collected another win, and you got to set up for a good finish tomorrow.
Final line score of this one. For Texas Southern, 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 9 left on base. For Bethune-Cookman, 16 runs on 14 hits, 2 errors, and only 3 left on for the Wildcats. So the innings where they scored their runs, the first, the second, and the sixth, they cleaned up. They didn't leave guys on base.
And how many times have we pointed to that as frustrating points throughout the season? And when you're able to collect on those at every opportunity, it's always a boon for you. It's always something that will keep you moving forward and feeling a lot better about yourself than if you're stranded a bunch. There's nothing more frustrating and nothing that piles up quicker than those left on base. And I also think scoring early is important. Putting up 5 in the first, really setting that tone, especially with the way it finished yesterday, was a big part of why you're able to finish it out. Yeah, sure, things get a little tighter than you want if you don't have the big inning, but that 5 early, it told you all you needed to know about how it was going to go tonight.
The winning pitcher is Joel Corey. He extends his streak 5-1 on the season for him. Calvin McClendon takes the loss. He is now 3-3. There was no save. Time of the ball game, 2 hours and 45 minutes. So now the Wildcats have destiny in their own hands. They don't need to rely on Florida A&M screwing up tomorrow. They win tomorrow, they are your regular season champions.
Yep, and again, I'll say the point again. It means something to this Wildcats team. The first time in the history of the program joining this conference. It's only been a handful of years now, and it feels like they've flirted with it every year. But it's a different hurdle. It's one they haven't seen before. It's one that is important. I know to the coaching staff and to the guys on the roster, make no mistake about it, there's nobody that is going to sneak up on tomorrow. They all know what's at stake. They all know that that's something they can get. But they also know, or if they don't, then I'm sure Coach will let them know that is not the end goal, and there's so much more to do, and that you get really at the end of the day, outside of maybe a couple of photos or a graphic here or there, you're not going to get a whole lot out of it. You've got a whole lot more games to win. You've got a whole lot more to do, shooting not only within this conference, but further beyond. They've got their sights set as high as they can go, and a regular season title tomorrow isn't everything. But again, it will be in everybody's mind. It's not going to sneak up on them. They know it's coming. And they're going to have to play for it tomorrow. You're going to have one little more bit of pressure. And I think that's good, too. Finishing up on a game where a true getaway day in every sense of the word, where you can come out and just, swing at everything, just get ready to go home. It's an earlier game, so you go have the night to yourself. They've got something to play for, and I think that's good. You don't want to finish it out just kind of coasting through a game. So they got one more shot to come out and have to swing the bat and play really well.
Stay tuned here on the CatEye Network. We've got Coach Hernandez making his way to the booth as we will get his thoughts on a 16-4 win for Bethune-Cookman. Of course, not as easy or simple as that made it sound. The 10 spot in the 6th really blew this game open. And at one point, they had the Texas Southern had the tying run at the plate back in the 5th inning, and the bases loaded, and the Wildcats just keep getting double plays. That's the big thing for me this weekend. Sure. Yesterday, even in the loss, and today, oh my God, the infield has been unbelievable.
Even Andre Martinez today, right? Well, that's something we haven't talked about in a while, just because the bats kind of stole the show a little bit, but it looked rough early, and one play is all I mean by rough. It wasn't easy, but he settled down, and his number was called at third today, something he hasn't played a ton, and he was more than serviceable. He stole some hits, or he stole an extra base here or there from a couple of batters for Texas Southern. Outstanding job, more than serviceable job out there, and that's part of what you need to win a championship. Everybody's got to step up.
And started 2 double plays, which really, I can count maybe on one hand the amount of 5, 4, 3 double plays we've seen this year. We had 2 to get out of innings this evening. We're now joined by Coach Hernandez here on the CatEye Network postgame show. Well, Coach, you needed a bounce-back game. You got it in a pretty big way. You jumped out, 5 in the first, 1 in the second, but then the bats kind of cooled off a bit, and then you jumped on the bullpen that really you do what you need to do in these situations against a team like Texas Southern, who's back into the bullpen isn't really where you think it should be. Yeah,
and that was the message going into last night. We wanted to, start the game early, and we were able to do that. Quality swings in that first inning. And, the thing with this group, right, it's kind of stagnant, right, for about 2 innings, 3 innings. But then in the flip of the switch, it's all of a sudden, here we go. We got 3, 4, 5, 6. In that inning, I think we scored 10 runs. So credit to the guys, credit to the work. But, at the end of the day, we have an opportunity to finish the regular season, and that's For us right now, we have to be able to finish the regular season.
Even in a 16-4 win, there are still things to critique. The one thing that we noticed was the walks and the free passes today. More than, of course, you would like. And even Joel Corey, who looked pretty good in the first 2 innings, struggled with some command issues.
Yeah, I think, with any team, right, it doesn't matter if you're playing, non-conference, Division I games or in conference, the walks are going to find a way to, hurt you. But, these guys were able to limit the damage. As far as like Gold is concerned, it's his first outing, in 3 weeks. It's just more of getting the feel back, Wirt did a good job coming in that situation, but found himself in some trouble with the walks. And, Roses was exceptional against Stetson, last week on Tuesday. So we just got to make sure that, we hone into what we want to do, and we have to be able to throw strikes. It doesn't matter who you play. If you walk guys, they're going to come around and, hurt you in the end.
Especially in the tournament. We've seen time and time and time again, if a team fails to find the strike zone out of the bullpen, a team could just jump on them, and we've been the beneficiary of that a couple of years in a row.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to take advantage of those opportunities on the offense, but, when you're on defense, and especially guys that are throwing the rock, they have to be able to just throw strikes and pitch the contact.
Talk about the infield defense. Andre Martinez, his first appearance at third in quite a while, and he struggled there earlier this season. His first ball hit to him was an error, and then he picked it right back up, turned 2 double plays. We have 5 double plays in 2 games so far this weekend. The middle infield's just been stellar.
Yeah, that's a credit to, Coach Cartaya, working with the infielders. And, the good thing about our team the entire year is we have flexibility with positioning guys where we need to. Andre is, obviously a starting right fielder, but we felt today the matchup, if it was better, having Andre at third and give Ray an opportunity to get in the lineup. So, the thing about this group, too, it's like, one error, you don't want to make them. It's part of the game, but, he turned around and turned 2 double plays. So, again, that's a credit to Coach Cartaya and the infielders with the work that they've put on throughout the course of the entire year, starting in the fall, and we just have to clean it up defensively, because you're going to have to defend, especially, in the tournament coming up.
Last game of the regular season tomorrow, a chance to close out a regular season title with a win, and I know it's not the end goal. The end goal is SWAC Championship, regional and beyond, but it would be an important first step. How important is tomorrow's game?
I think it's huge, but at the end of the day, we can't deviate from who we are and what our philosophy is. It's that's why I talked to the team post-game is, when we started our fall team practice, when we were scrimmaging, Sunday meant something. The last day of the scrimmages, it meant something, and it comes back right now. The final game of the regular season, it means something. It means an opportunity for us to go in and clinch the regular season title, and that's something that hasn't been done in here, in a while. So that's one of our goals. But at the end of the day, it's not who piles up first, it's who piles up last. So, we'll just go at it, business as usual, and get ready for a big win tomorrow, and hopefully we send our seniors off on a high note tomorrow.
Thank you for your time, Coach. Congrats on the win.
You got it. Hail Wildcats.
Once again, your final line score in this one. Texas Southern 4 runs on 5 hits, no errors, and 9 left on. Bethune-Cookman 16 runs on 14 hits, committed 2 errors, and left 3 on base. The winning pitcher is Joel Corey. His record now 5-1. The losing pitcher Calvin McLennan. His record now 3-3. Time of the ball game 2 hours and 45 minutes. For Bryce Wojnowski and our entire CatEye Network crew here at Sanford Memorial Stadium, my name is Michael Torello. 2 p.m. tomorrow for Senior Day. You want to get here early as we have the senior festivities before the game. Even maybe 1:50 when those senior festivities start, and then the game as the Wildcats try to clinch the regular season title. My name is Michael Torello. Thank you so much for your company this evening. We'll see you tomorrow for the regular season finale on the CatEye Network.